Hey, what's up everyone? Today is Monday, August 16th, 2010, and you are listening to episode 131 of On Tap. I'm Dale Poulis, and joining me today is our another awesome recurring guest host, Matt Kohler. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Chris and Liz, they're somewhere. I don't know what they're doing, but Matt's filling in.
They're playing Lord of the Rings.
They're playing Lord of the Rings. Come on, we know it. They're playing Lord of the Rings online. No, actually, no. We've had this episode planned for a while because after a much long delay of a year
I think,
and
yes.
several months, like a year and a half
over
almost.
a year, actually. Yeah,
Let's say a year and a half.
it's my fault. It is.
We got sidetracked and we did a few other fun episodes like the Wolverine episode and all, but we're finally bringing back the comic book video game retrospective, part 3.
Yep.
And today that will be covering all the games from pretty much like systems from 95 to 2000, the PS1, Saturn, N64, and Dreamcast. And it's quite a bevy of games we got to talk about, huh?
Yeah, at the rate we're going, we should have the next show of this ready in about 3 years for you guys. So
Yes.
It'll be nice.
And we actually got schedule planned out.
Yeah.
We're going to try and wrap this up in another
About
2 more episodes.
4 weeks we should be ready, hopefully.
Spread them out a month apart. So
That's what I said last time.
Yes.
It's been a year and a half,
well, it's been a few months since we had you on last time, man. How you doing?
so. Pretty good. I don't even remember what the last show was on this side, actually.
I think it was like me, you, and Dave talking about something.
Didn't we just do like a winged episode? Like we just kind of...
Yeah, we kind of
Like a
all
free-for-all
reviewed
type
something.
thing?
Yeah, we kind of
It was
winged
a
it.
disaster.
It was great. It was greatness. But also, I just kind of want to throw out there too. If you're looking for, if you're the first time you listen to a comic book retrospective episode, if you want to refer to the old episodes, this is episode 131 right now. Is part 3. Part 2, which covered the 16-bit wars. That was episode 95. That's how far back it went.
Yeah.
And part 1, which was like 8-bit Nintendo and older, that covered that was episode 92. And if you want to go farther back, we just kind of did a quick one-off like overview of comic book games, just kind of quick general thoughts of like some of our standout favorites. Yeah. And that was just a 1-hour show. Didn't go into a lot of detail about much of anything. Just kind of ran off a bunch of games that we remember and like playing. That was episode 29.
Wow. That was a long time ago.
Yes.
I don't even remember that,
That was
actually.
2007.
Jesus. I think that's kind of what inspired this.
Yes.
Way back then we kind of started talking about it.
But yeah, but before we dive into the comic book game superhero goodness and make Spider-Man proud, we hope you guys enjoyed that intro song, by the way. We're going to talk about what games we've been playing lately, man. I think we both got quite the list. So, Matt, why don't you start things off?
Where to start? Should I just throw out a couple here and then...
You can write down. I'm sure we got at least a few we've been playing the same. So
I'll throw out a couple I know you haven't been playing, and I know there's a couple we haven't both been playing. So, first off, I think you guys... I don't know if you guys talked about this on the last couple shows or not, but Limbo. And I finished that. I actually finished it, which... I'm ashamed of how many times I actually died during it, but...
in the demo, I just played the demo. I think in the demo alone, for like the 10 minutes I played, I must have died at least 20 times.
I really liked it. Going through the game, I mean, I don't know if it's worth $15. Like, I'd say 10 would have been a fairer price. I'm not going to complain about it. I thought it was a really good game. Some of the puzzles are really neat. And I think, considering it's mostly a black and white game, well, actually, it is all black and white. Excuse me.
And gray.
Well, yeah, okay, gray. But the death scenes are like, I don't know if it's the sound they make or just like the shock value of when you do die, like how just gruesome it is to me. Like certain deaths, like the spider legs, stepping on you and stuff like that. But I don't know. I really like that game. It's definitely worth playing on the Xbox Live. So
I think I referred to the last episode. I suck at it. I got stuck early on in the demo.
I just go through and give you some tips.
Yeah, maybe I'd like to give it another try. I think. And as far as the price value thing, I've heard reports from people saying that it took as many as 5 or 6 hours, or as few as 3 or 4 hours. But I think is the value what you get is the quality of the experience, not how long it is.
Yeah, like for 5 hours is about what I played it for, and like I said, I do agree with that to a point, but I still like things like that is like $10. I'm like, I really dislike paying like $15 and $20 for an Xbox Live Arcade game.
Now, I got a quick question for you about Limbo. I've read some reports online from like blogs and whatnot, forum posts, that people said they've been kind of getting. This game has a little bit of a scare factor to it. Like it's easy to get a good jump and startle out of you.
Like I said, if you caught the part that I throw out with like the spider in the background, like earlier. Some of those parts, if you're not paying attention, just comes out of nowhere and just grabs you. And I mean, you're starting to get in this game, you're starting to look for stuff, and then something comes out of nowhere and nails you. So it's pretty fun, that, and when you start messing around with gravity, which I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but towards the end of the game, you start playing with gravity a little bit, and that's kind of cool. So
okay, sweet.
The other game, and I think you played this a little bit too, is Naughty Bear. And I bought the 360 version of this.
Yeah, I played a little bit at your place.
Don't pay full price for this. That's I'm going to say that flat out.
After I watched you played it for a lot more. I think
this should have been a budget title. There's no question about it. I think it should have been a budget title.
I love those videos though.
Yeah, to charge full price for the game it's just ridiculous. But
well, at least the developers threw you a bone. They made a free downloadable.
I don't want to play it more though. Like, that's almost punishment for, like, oh, you paid full price. Well, here's an extra chapter, you fucker. You know, like...
No, I thought I kind of interpreted it as, like, yeah, we raped you over the coals a little bit.
Give me an update that fixes the bugs, because, man, I'm like... I played the same level, or, like, the chapter, the section of the chapter, excuse me, I played, like, 3 or 4 times the same exact one, because every time I get to the end of it...
It freezes?
Yeah, it freezes. Every time. I like, the same one, so I probably would have finished this game, like, a couple days after I bought it, but I can never finish the levels because it freezes when I complete it. And anytime my checklist in the corner, anytime I fulfill, like, 2 or 3 objectives at once, the game freezes, like it can't handle it, I finish the level, but... the online's a joke. I mean, you saw that. So.
Yeah, like I think I couldn't even get into a match.
Was it like an hour?
Yeah.
Like we tried for, like just then we kept losing the connection and like
it's like as bad as UFC.
12-year-olds all over the place cussing, you know. But as far as the game go, I mean, like as far as the actual like
I like the storyline concept.
Yeah. The concept is funny for a couple hours. I will say that, and I throw it in every once in a while. I get a good chuckle out of it because I mean, hearing terrified bears run away from you and murdering them in obscene ways, it's actually pretty funny, and that's why I bought the game. But at the same point, I'm like, I feel really ripped off by the fact you only get 3 areas, and there's 7 chapters, and there's certain things you have to do with certain gameplay modes, but you only have 3 areas. You have his house, you have a factory, and you have like a kind of like a party area. And no matter what you do, no matter what chapter it is, sometimes they might start you off in a different area to start with, but you're going through the same 3 areas. Essentially, you're going to end up doing the same thing every single time. And I'm like, I found myself just like, okay, I'm on a new chapter. I'm just going to do the same thing I did the last chapter. So, graphics are subpar for a current gen.
Yeah.
A multiplayer, like I said, I did get in once, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, so I just got, just running around. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. I've been having trouble with that one, just wanting to play it, so... That's what I mean, like, getting an extra chapter is like, oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, and that's by 505 Games, right? If I remember right. Yeah, I got a game I've been playing, too, on the list that, it definitely needs some fixes, too, and so I think, it's a newer publisher. They're getting their feet finally wet in the high AAA disc-based games, and I think they're having some growing pains.
Like I said, don't throw me new content before you fix some of the old stuff, so...
Well, I guess I could throw in here, too, since we're on top of, like, games made by 505 Games. The game I was referring to is Backbreaker. And I actually I reviewed the game for hardcoregamer.com, and they asked me to just make an addendum to the review, not to change the score or anything, but just add a little paragraph or two, because the developers released a huge update for the game, actually fixing a lot of and addressing a lot of the problems that a lot of the reviews have been saying. And to their credit, they do take into concern a lot of the problems I had with the game, like POD's "Here Comes the Boom." It used to play on every single kickoff, and it was cool the first couple of times I hear it, because kind of gets me jacked, got me pumped for the game. And then after hearing it on every single kickoff, it's just like, come on. Now it just only plays on the opening kickoff of each half, so that's only twice a game. Which is actually, that's fine. That actually works.
I think
like
it should play on every kickoff, too.
Yeah. Or if they were to do a song every kickoff, at least get a licensed soundtrack and mix it up.
No.
That'd be even better. That makes too much sense.
It has to be POD every
POD.
time.
Actually, I was hoping...
Because they're still relevant.
I was hoping for some Nickelback action. But no, they actually fixed some other things in there too. Like for some reason, their instant replay camera was it wasn't even customizable. You just viewed the play, and most football games have, or all sports games have a instant replay feature with a customizable camera, and so they added that in there, and they actually added over 100 plays, which was kind of a big deal, and a bunch of other little fixes. They said they addressed the defensive AI because they are horrible. Let me restate that. They are great at picking off your passes left and right, and they still are. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe I'm just a shitty quarterback. I don't know. But, it's good to see that they, tried, they enter their career. They did patch and fix some issues. The game's a bit more tolerable now. So huzzah.
I think the last football game I played was NFL Blitz on the N64, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Damn it. So what else have you been playing, Matt?
I don't know. I can kind of cover on sticking to the 360 front. Game we've both been playing is Hydro Thunder, and I think you guys covered that on the last show as well.
Yeah, I reviewed it, but what's your quick take on it?
Oh, I really like it. I don't know if I'm going to find myself doing a lot of the extra races. Like, I really don't care for the ring.
Yeah,
those. I don't really care for that, but I finished the core game and like the core 8 tracks. Multiplayer is pretty fun, although I get murdered on that, but it's one of those things like I can't commit myself to playing one game all the time to get good enough to be taking the number 1 or 2 spots on it, so I have to kind of settle for the middle of the pack on that. But
I like time trials and single races, but the rings I always end up screwing up on.
Well, that's the thing is I'm like I can get through the race like nothing, but I'm like if I have to go through the rings, I have to slow down a little bit. I'm like I know there's skill involved in there, but I'm like it's a downloadable title. I'm not going to put that much time into it.
I like the actual races themselves and going online racing, even though I usually finish in the back of the pack. I have a good time with
Online's fun with buddies. It's definitely like when you're playing a couple of friends, it's more fun than just random strangers because
you hit that up again.
You start getting smack talk by a 12-year-old.
I just do friends chat only. Fuck the 12-year-olds.
You gotta listen to them because then when you do beat them, it pisses them off really bad. So
they just go, "You suck."
I don't know if you remember our Sonic All-Stars.
Yes.
You're cheating. You're using weapons. I'm like, that's during the game. It's not cheating,
You can turn them off if you want, actually.
And then they did, and they killed us.
Fucking 12-year-olds. Hey, Sonic. I remember playing Motorstorm. The British people were getting pissed off at me because I was pressing, if you press L1 or R1, it does a little shift to the left and right. You can barge them off the track. It's actually an option in the game. And I was making use of that, and people, those English dudes, man, they kept calling me wankers. No offense to any English people, but to that one person online that just kept giving me nonstop shit. And I wasn't even playing with a headset. It's just that, because I usually don't by default, but I forgot the game had that set where if you're not using a headset, it'll play the voice on your TV speakers. So I'm trying to enjoy the race, and I keep hearing, "You bloody wanker, stop hitting me. Everyone get gruel." God damn it.
You should have been like, "I got my finger stuck in me bum."
No.
Because what do you say to that?
English people are cool. Wade Barrett's a man. Stephen Regal. Yes.
All right, another one of the 360, Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, yeah. We're both playing that yesterday. I was thinking of inviting you to do some public free roam or co-op gang hideouts, but
we're definitely going to have to do that. Yeah, I think I'm still getting into the meat and potatoes of the story mode, so...
I'm 22 missions in. I'm not even in Mexico yet. You're just telling me before the show you just hit Mexico.
They count I think they count strangers and side missions and stuff like that into your mission rank.
Oh,
that's
what
I'm saying. Yeah,
okay.
As far as story missions, I don't think you're that far in the story. So
yeah, I just looked on the stats. It said 22 story missions done. Or maybe 22 missions. I can't.
Yeah, I remember 20 because there's like bounties.
I did a few strangers. Yeah, yep. I did my first bounty yesterday. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. I also found my first treasure.
Nice. Did you get the? We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I got my first treasure map, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna find that. It was like a tree with a noose on it.
Well, I happened to be in Hanging Rock, and
that's probably where my treasure is.
And I just did a mission. I think that's where my bounty was at. And then I was like, wait a second, I think I remember looking at the map. This kind of looks. It's probably not
the same treasure that I got too, like the.
It's the first map you get, probably, and you look in between the boulders, you go around, look in between the boulders, it's easy to find. And I found the treasure.
I should probably actually look for it then.
Yeah, it's actually not. Just go to Hanging Rock, it's right in the middle of the boulders, and it's not too... Also, there's Inside Xbox videos, too, detailing where all the treasures are.
Oh, nice. I just looked at the map, and I'm like, I'll do that later. But
So, yeah.
I just wander around and shoot rabbits.
You said you're liking Mexico though, huh?
Oh yeah, it's nice to change scenery after you've been playing the same area for I think I was 10 hours in, and I've just kind of been putzing around here and there, and then I finally finished a bunch of the story. But it's nice to see new landscapes. After a while, you do. End up traveling the same area over and over again. So, but
yeah,
really digging it though.
Yeah. For some reason I love that game, and I know we're talking too earlier. Love the fast travel, but I don't want to use it all the time because, in Fallout, I'll use it half the time. The other half the time, I'll kind of walk.
You miss, like I said, you miss strangers. You miss events the stagecoach robberies and stuff like that, or people getting attacked by wolves and just helping people.
Yeah, that's cool.
One thing I kind of didn't bring up when we were talking earlier is I found myself at points in the game just looking at the landscape.
Yeah.
The graphics are I don't really care
I'm
about
a sucker
graphics.
for that, man, in exploration games, even in driving games. Driving in real life. Flat ass North Dakota, man.
Yep.
It takes me in, what can I say?
Yeah, well, Red Dead, like I said, when you get down to Mexico and you start looking over the cliffs and stuff like that, it's really neat, so.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I finally unlocked got all the pieces, or got around to getting all the pieces to unlock the Deadly Assassin outfit. That thing's pretty cool.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it regenerates your health regenerates your dead aim.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Twice as fast, so that's pretty cool. I also got the Duster outfit. I don't know how I got it.
Yeah,
I just went and bought some stuff at the gun store and said, "Oh, you unlocked the Duster outfit."
Yeah, I got the Gambler outfit.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
What other games have you been playing?
Let's see here. Lips Party Classics. I threw that in yesterday. Yeah, I love karaoke, dude. What can I say? No, that's another one I'm kind of slowly progressing through to make progress for games beaten. I'm just doing that one as my usual general quota for each music game, which is just complete all the games complete all the songs.
Be doing that show probably in January, shortly after the first couple weeks of January. We'll be doing that show.
I'm looking forward to it.
Our gaming challenge is on this year. I'm not going to give out the numbers yet because we're actually doing pretty good, but I'm on track to easily beat last year's numbers. So
I think I may surpass mine. Maybe not a whole lot, but I think I will.
Dale, I'm gonna have to bring you. We're gonna have to do some old school gaming days.
Yes,
just to get you some
pad that score.
Yep.
I feel bad about adding a few games to my list, but
oh, come on.
Well, you guys will have to wait and find out. Listen to our old Game of the Year beaten show.
I didn't add the. I tell you, I downloaded the Trine add-on.
Oh yeah, the Trine add-on. Yeah,
the one level.
$1. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually it's not really that long, but at the same point, I'm like, hey, I'm just happy to play some more Trine. I really like that game. I don't know if you ever did end up playing it, but
I remember playing the demo of it. I need to start it up. I liked it. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's a lot of fun. Like, you guys out there on a PS3, and I think it's on PSC. It originally came out on PC as well. If you guys got a PS3, get Trine. It's totally fun playing it. So.
Well, I did beat. Speaking of beating games for a special, I did beat 2 games since our last show. Family Feud on the PlayStation Network.
That's one of the ones I got on my list too. So
I finally got around to beating all the TV episodes in the career mode there. There's only 12.
And to all the haters out there, Family Feud is the shit, and I will back Dale on that. Don't knock the feud.
Yes, that's right. The guys from PS Nation were on here a couple of episodes ago, and I told them I was how much I like them, just a Family Feud nut, and they were actually talking about it on one of their episodes. They downloaded it, and they said they didn't hate on it, but they said they were kind of let down on it. And they said the episodes were. They said the game ran too long, or they said the rounds took too long to play. And I was thinking, it only takes 12 to 15 minutes to beat or finish a game, and that's half.
We should do a podcast
TV
challenge.
show. Yes,
a feud podcast.
Well, challenge. Yes, we should. PS Nation, we're challenging you to an online round of Family Feud.
Yep,
bring it. Winner, fuck. You give us PSN points cards or something. Yes.
Or if we lose, ridiculous on your podcast.
Yes, ridiculous
You're gonna do that
more.
anyways, but
yes,
that's all right.
Bring it. Bring it.
I like Feud, man. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree though that there are some of the categories and stuff like that. Some of the survey answers.
Yeah.
And it was really.
Yeah, that was one of the things they say I do agree with. Every now and then you get a survey where you're like, how am I supposed to guess this? And their top answers almost have all the same amount of votes for it.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you're bound to get that every now and then. But yeah, Family Feud beat that, and the other one I beat was Pinball Hall of Fame, the Williams collection, and
That doesn't count, Dale.
What? Why? No,
You can't beat pinball.
Well,
You can't beat
they got a
pinball,
mode.
Dale.
They have a mode in there called the Williams Challenge, which is beating a score,
No.
a preset score on each table, and you only got 3 continues.
I've beat Zen Pinball 80 times then this year. What do you?
And it took me like 8 or 9 tries when I finally did it, and it took me a good couple hours, because I didn't, after I beat the score, I just didn't purposely lose the rest of the credits there and move on to the next table. I was like, no, I'm going to try and beat my high scores while I'm doing it. So it took me a good few hours to do it. I'm like, you know what? I'm counting this.
That's going to be my quote of the show. You can't beat pinball.
Can't beat pinball. But you know what, Matt? I can because I'm a pinball wizard.
No.
That's right, I went there.
Stop. No. Uncomfortable silence. No, another game on the PS3, and I know we were talking about getting some 4-player co-op on this, is Scott Pilgrim. I kind of threw that in, and I only played it for about 20 minutes, so I don't want to go too in-depth. I mean, I can't go too in-depth, but what I played was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Like, the music was fun, graphics, gameplay, everything was fun, so I don't know. I don't really want to talk about that. I think we should cover that in a later show, really. Like,
I just tried it only for a few minutes just to get a feel for it, too, but yeah, got to romp through that.
Yeah.
I get kind of puzzled to why they didn't have online co-op. I guess
it's coming. They said when it comes to Xbox Live, they're going to bring online co-op to the PS3 and Xbox.
I guess I heard a developer interview. They must have been talking about the PS3 edition, but they were saying, "Oh, we didn't have it because we wanted the old school. You know, it's an old school design game. We wanted to have the old school couch play."
Yeah, they're going to bring it.
They're going to bring it.
Yeah. The last one on the PS3, obviously, Family Feud and Scott Pilgrim on the PS3 right now is I kind of threw in a
Blaze Pinball.
No, I always play Zen
Yeah,
Pinball.
me too.
Blaze Blue, the original Blaze Blue. I can't remember what it's called. What is it? You know what it's called.
Continuum Shift.
No, that's the second one.
Yeah, or the first one, Calamity Trigger.
There you go. That's the right one. I can't remember. I'm like, I don't give a shit about the surname. It's Blaze Blue, the first one. I remember we threw that in. I think I threw it in right when we got it.
Yes.
And I think I did a little bit of the story mode for one of the characters, and I've just been kind of doing it on and off. Still a good game. 2D fighting game, Capcom style fighting. I really have nothing to say about it except for it's really colorful, but you play any of those type of fighting games, but I don't have much to say about that one. I'll just throw it back to you on that.
Well, it says Zen Pinball, so I'll say Zen Pinball again. Keep that pinball.
It was a new table.
Yeah, Mars Table, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I played it like 3 times, I think, so.
Well, like, my first time playing it,
You still have the...
I set that... I don't know what I was like, ooh, I could do all these missions on the table. I was like shooting and trying each mission. I was completing each mission mini game I got like a 15 million score, and at the time I was like ranked 250th in the world.
Nice.
It was like probably like 2 days after the table was released, but now I checked yesterday, it was like 500 and something. But
do you still have the high score on that?
Yeah, I still got the score. Yeah.
I don't even remember what mine is. I think I played it for a little while, and I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I keep trying to beat it, but like next closest I've gotten was like 5 million, and some haven't even came close to beating it. But yeah, I love that table, man. It's good stuff. Keep those tables coming.
Any other games you've been playing?
Oh yeah,
I got a couple more, so I'll let you go first, though.
Well, on the DS, Retro Game Challenge. That's the one.
DS doesn't count either.
Fuck you. DS is a shit.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
No, Retro Game Challenge still cracking away. I finally beat all the challenges for Gadia Quest. I still got to beat the game. You can actually save in that one, and I guess I looked on a guide. I think the amount of challenges they stop you at before moving on to the next game in Retro Game Challenge only covers like a quarter of the actual main Gadia Quest game. Like, they actually pack a full-length NES RPG in there. Like, took me like about 3.5 to 4 hours to beat all the challenges. They probably got like a good 12 to 15 hour RPG in there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's just like Dragon Warrior. It's awesome. And now I'm playing Robot Ninja Haggleman 3, which is the last game of the collection. Plays a lot differently than the old Haggleman games on the collection, like all new graphics for it and all. Actually plays a little bit more like Ninja Gaiden on the NES, so that's pretty cool. Actually, I'm on the last challenge for that one, so.
Just love the name of that game. I'm sorry.
Robot Ninja Haggleman 3 Deluxe. And only a couple hours into Dragon Quest IX. Still playing that in little like 30-minute spurts in between Retro Game Challenge. I'm only at like I think it's like the hexagonal dungeon. It's like the first main dungeon in the game, but I'm actually really digging that. So good stuff. You've been playing anything on the handhelds? I know you're a recent owner of the PSP now.
I actually like the PSP. I do that on my lunch breaks from work, but right now I'm playing Unbound Saga, and I think I don't know if I showed you that one at all, but
I think so. I can't remember.
I've heard rumors of it coming to Xbox Live, but Unbound Saga, it's kind of like Comic Zone in most aspects. I think it's like there's 4 characters to choose from, kind of side-scrolling beat 'em up. You go through comic panels. It's really basic game, but I'm like, I kind of saw trailers for it when it was first coming out a while back, and I got my PSP and I went and looked at the download games. And I saw it was only like $4.99, and I'm like, shit, I remember when that was full price when it came out. I'm like, $4.99, I can't beat it. So I've been playing that. The other game, I'm kind of trying to play some old school games, just kind of keep pace with my stuff and pad my gaming challenge to you a little bit. But Metal Slug Anthology.
Oh, come on. You're not counting each individual one, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Were they released as individual games when they came out?
Yes.
And it counts. So
each one only takes 40
you could play
minutes.
it too.
I sold it when I sold the Wii.
You sold it?
I had it on Wii. I sold
Why
it
would you
Wii.
buy it on the Wii?
I got it for a review copy.
I don't care. That's something you should have to pay for.
I was like, hell yeah, I'll take
it.
Metal
It is a
Slug
privilege
Anthology.
to pay for the Metal Slug Anthology.
I'll probably buy it again on the PS2 one day.
You should, actually. It's really good. That's what I got it for. I thought about getting it on the PSP just to have it on the go, because that'd be a good on-the-go type game, but,
Yeah.
no, I love going back and playing the Metal Slug Anthology, and I actually recently picked up, was it Double X? That was on Xbox Live Arcade.
Okay.
So and I got 7 on the DS recently, too, so I'm just gonna
Yeah, I played through 7. 7 on the DS is really good. Except no 2-player.
I haven't played that yet, but I just played Double X, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and play all these again, so it's a nice way to throw in some older games. And
Padding your score.
yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but no. We played some other games. We were playing some Sega CD games a couple weeks back, too. Playing some Prime and some...
Oh, that was a couple months ago.
Was that months ago?
It
all blurs together, Ed.
Oh, yeah, I made sure to talk about our good Prime story.
Oh, nice.
In depth about how the power went out on us on the last boss.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh.
Don't forget Make My Video Power Factory.
Oh,
CNC
Mark.
Nope, CNC Music Factory.
Yeah.
It's simultaneously the worst and best game I've ever played, so...
Well, yeah, I guess I kind of mentioned this, or preluded to this on our last episode, but I mentioned how I was in talks with a guy to buy his Sega 32X and Sega CD, and I just picked that up last weekend, and I hooked it up. I actually ended up getting his Genesis with the deal, too, because the Genesis I got is a Genesis 3, which is not compatible with a 32X or CD. So now I have 3 Genesis systems, like if you count the Nomad also. So
nice.
But yeah, I got a bunch of games off them, and also convinced me to buy a few other games online that I kind of always wanted to play on 32X and Sega CD. I only got a chance to play one, and that was Road Rash CD, and so, I like it. It's good. It's not as good as the 3DO version, which it came out after the 3DO version, I remember, and at the time the 3DO version was getting a lot of praise because it introduced city levels to Road Rash, and city levels were unlike anything you played on the awesome Genesis games at the time, and it's still Road Rash Racing Against Core is awesome. They have FMV, the same kind of FMV victory and losing videos after each race, which are kind of cool and worth playing to see. And unlike the 3DO version, it has licensed soundtrack just like the 3DO version. But the 3DO version, for whatever reason, only plays that kick-ass licensed soundtrack on the menus, not during the actual races. In the Sega CD version, they do play.
Is that the soundtrack that has like Rusty Cage by Soundgarden?
Yeah, Soundgarden's on there. I remember a few other bands I can't remember. It's like a 10, 12 song soundtrack,
We used to play that on Sega Saturn all the time.
It was one of the first games. I think actually the first game to do a licensed soundtrack, the 3DO version.
Oh, Rusty Cage. Oh, Rusty Cage on Road Rashes and stuff back in the day. But what do you think? I think it's time to bring back Road Rash. Honestly,
I think they had one. If I remember right, there was one in the works for PS2, but then they canceled it. And
I don't know if it should be like a disc based, maybe like as a downloadable title.
Test the water, see how it does as like a downloadable.
Okay, like Hydro
game.
Thunder. I mean, Hydro Thunder being downloadable was perfect. Because I'm like, I don't, for what it was, that's great. I mean, they're probably gonna make some bank on that, but throw a Road Rash out there, just a downloadable one. I mean, honestly, people eat that up. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying a lot more of these 32X and Sega CD games over the next few weeks here. So I think we already did a Sega CD retrospective, but Matt, what do you think of this? You got 32X also. I just kind of happened to stumble upon one just through a coworker needing to sell his to fund his wedding here a few weeks later. So
it's terrible.
I was like, oh, I'll help you fund your wedding. I didn't really want a 32X or Sega CD, but there was always a few games I've always kind of wanted to play on them, so I was like, and I was going towards a good cause, kind of. But, so.
Hey, I'm happy he's getting married, but at the same time, don't sell your stuff. No.
I was like, are you sure? I even asked him, are you sure you want to part with this stuff? And he's like,
just
yeah,
give him money,
and
let him keep his stuff.
But no, what do you think about this? I propose this to you, a 32X retrospective in 32 minutes. I think it can be done. There's only like 40-some games released for it.
Why not?
Alright. Be on the lookout for that for a future show.
I guess one last note for me before we start this and kick it off. Scott Pilgrim came out over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, yep.
I read the numbers for it.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, they didn't do 10.5 weekend opening.
Yeah, it debuted at number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, guys, this movie did barely better than MacGruber did. MacGruber tanked. So,
though, if you think about it, this was kind of a movie that had the marketing and kind of promotion that it catered towards the internet. If you think about it, internet fans and old school references.
Yeah, but the thing right now is it came into a loaded weekend. I mean, you have Expendables, which is going to take the male demographic.
Expendables actually did a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, it did. Eat, Pray, Love got the female demographic. You still got the Inception wave that's going. Mm-hmm. And what else? The other guys beat it out.
Step Up in 3D.
No, that didn't. No. Other Guys was in 4th. No, Inception was in 4th, and Other Guys was in 3rd place over the weekend. So I'm kind of disappointed, but I kind of saw it happening because a lot of the teenagers that it was aimed towards, like the TV ads were aimed towards teenagers, and I'm like, they're not going to get this stuff. Like, it's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I kind of liked, Scott Pilgrim being for nerds, and I kind of liked having that.
And they got their movie.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go see it. I just got done reading Volume 6 of the 6th book a couple days ago, so full Scott Pilgrim fan mode.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't read them yet. I remember we kind of talked about this. I remember I got like it was called Free Scott Pilgrim. It came out on Free Comic Book Day like years ago. And I got that, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I'm like, when's the stuff come out? And they're like, oh, it's going to be on in a little bit. So I got the first volume, and I read that. It took me forever to get the other ones, and I still haven't read them. I have all of them, but I just remember I was a huge fan when I read just the Free Comic Book Day ones. So.
Yeah, I got into when like the first 5 were out. I read like all the first 5 in probably like the span of about 2 or 3 months, and
I think we kind of got them around the same time, didn't we? Like after.
I think I remember I heard a lot of talk about it on like another podcast, Two Drunken Gamers Radio. So like kind of, and then with the movie coming out, I was like, oh fuck it, I'll get them.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of sad though. I'm kind of.
Yeah, you're supposed to be ahead of me in all comic reading. Dude.
No, I mean just the movie's not doing as good as it should. But
maybe we'll have legs, have a slow.
Once it gets the DVD, it's gonna be like Kick-Ass because Kick-Ass is taking off on DVD right now. So.
Well, I got a couple other games that I want to give a quick shout out to real quick. I got a Death Spank, which I only played like a little. Well, actually, I played about an hour of. Man, does that game hand out side quests to you like you don't believe, man? It seems like everybody you talk to, they give you a side quest. I guess they want you to be their pal. I don't know. I love the humor in it. The guy who does the Tick voices him.
That's what I thought when I was playing it. I was like, wait a minute.
It's actually, I looked it up. It's actually him who does the voice, and also too, I want to recommend putting the game on easy difficulty because like within after I bought the game, after you get past the little introductory part, I was dying left and right, and I was actually about to just say, fuck, screw this game. This is going to sit in the backlog for a while, but then a little Tick voiceover came out. We notice you're having trouble. Why don't you put the game on easy difficulty? Okay. That made the game more tolerable.
You're like, Dale mode.
Dale mode, yes. If you say so, Tick. You're my pal. And also a couple hours of Crackdown 2. Did some online co-op with Ryan, who's been on the show a few times before. And had a lot of fun in online co-op. Do it by myself, not so much. Actually, I think overall, just from the first couple hours, initial impressions, feels like I'm in too much familiar territory. Like I don't feel like they really changed a whole lot other than adding in the whole mutant factor. And it seems like there's actually less to do. Like I like the overall mission structure, at least from my memory, in Crackdown 1 a little better. And it seems like they only got you doing like a few different sorts of missions in Crackdown 2. I still can't resist collecting orbs and stuff, but yeah, Crackdown. I don't know. I think once still only a couple hours in, opinion could change on it. Next up, 3D Game Heroes. I know, Matt. You said you're telling me a while ago you got fed up with the game.
I got stuck at a part. I'm ashamed of that. But
I got stuck too. I beat the first dungeon, and then I was on my way to this, went around town, did a bunch of little, talked to everyone, see little mini missions they had in town. I love the whole theme and like humor in the game. I found a place on my way to the second dungeon, which was just a whole tribute to Demon Souls.
Yeah, you caught that place?
Yep.
Yep.
Which was awesome. And another Atlas published game. And then on my way to the second dungeon, I got stuck. I got to this hedge maze, and it said there's a mirror right at the beginning of the hedge maze saying, "Magic will be useful here." Oh, okay. And then I was thinking, well, looks like as I was walking through, it kept teleporting me to the back. I'm like, oh, there's got to be an exact path I got to walk through, just kind of like in some of the old Zelda games. And I swear I tried every single path I saw, but I kept getting teleported back. But then I remember the mirror said I got to use a certain kind of magic, so I'm guessing there must be a certain kind of item I got to use or something.
I thought there was a map or something for it, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I got stuck at the 4th dungeon, which I broke down and started using GameFAQs for it. I was just like, okay, I got to look this up, and like. I didn't feel so bad after the guy that did the GameFAQs walkthrough said that he had trouble with the 4th dungeon. I was like, okay, I don't feel so bad now, but the 4th dungeon, man, I got all the way through it, and like, for those of you guys who haven't played it, you're not going to know what I'm talking about, so I'm not even going to go into it, but the 4th dungeon is such a pain in the ass. And I got all the way to the end, all the way to the last door, and I didn't have the fucking key to open it. And I was like, oh my god. I'm like, seriously, I don't have a key. And I tried to backtrack and get another one. I even left the temple. I went to like the last city I was at and tried to like buy a key or a color key or something like that. And I went back in and found I got the wrong one. I'm like, okay, that's it.
Fuck it.
I honestly don't walk away from games often. And I know we had a discussion over the phone. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get my John Cena shirt. My Never Give Up shirt.
Never Give Up shirt. That's right. You have John Cena on your side.
Stupid John Cena.
The last game on my crazy usual long list of what I've been playing, the first Mass Effect. I've been meaning, I saw GameStop had a power save sale, and they had the Mass Effect 2 for $30, and got me thinking, I should play Mass Effect 1 again. I started it again like at the beginning of the year before Mass Effect 2 came out. Did a couple story quests, made some progress. Then I just sat there again. Now, I did the same thing. I played for a few hours. I beat all the storyline quests on Novaria, and I was tempted to do the exploration side quests on all the secondary planets, but I didn't, and the game is much more fun that way. Because I always remember that I keep thinking, ooh, look at all these planets I can go to. I could collect medals and stuff, and then I forget how boring and just
tedious.
Yeah, tedious that crap is. And I hear it's a lot better in Mass Effect 2, but yeah, just sticking to the main storyline that's the way to go.
You know, it's kind of funny. I remember you said you dropped down and you got it for like $30 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Walmart just dropped their price to $30 too for brand new. And I was like, sweet. I'm like, I might pick that up now. But then I'm like, yeah, I haven't even started the first one yet, so I should probably just wait until I've done that. So, I mean, I'm getting so far behind, like so far behind. So, like, I still haven't played Grand Theft Auto.
Even with as many games as you've beaten, you're so far behind.
What's the thing? Like GTA 4, I bought that at launch and I still haven't started it. I think I threw it in. And I got like the one achievement, like the off the boat achievement. And then I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I drove around for a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'll start this as soon as I'm done with so-and-so game. And then here we are. What's it been, like a year now since that's...
2 years.
Is it 2 years already?
Yes.
Oh my god, no.
Both of the DLC.
Oh, no.
I need to play the DLCs, but yeah.
Well, that's why I was just like, I don't want that to happen with Red Dead, so...
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think we're ready to move to the comic book video game retrospective part 3.
That we've been talking for, like, an hour now?
No, just 39 minutes. Yeah.
All right, guys, this is going to be a 5-hour show.
No, we'll be done in an hour.
We're just going to list the games that were in this generation.
But we got a couple, like on our open question thread, which you can find on VGEvo.com and our forum channel there. Just go to the VGEvo Podcast Network, click down the podcast menu, find On Tap. Usually we'll have open question thread open up where you can post whatever questions you want, and we'll read and respond to them on our next episode. I kind of did a little update on there a few days ago saying, hey, we're going to record the next episode of the comic book show. If you got a comic book game related question, post it away. And so we got a couple of responses here. First question here comes from Bistix, regular poster. He asks, do you guys wish you could go back in time and kill Joe Schumacher before he was able to touch the Batman franchise?
Yes.
pardon my ignorance. What did he do to fuck up the Batman franchise?
Did you see Batman Forever and Batman and Robin?
Yeah, but I haven't
I used
seen
to
Batman
see
and
you,
Robin.
Dale. I used to see you.
I remember seeing Batman Forever when I was a little kid and I remember liking it at the time. But
Batman Forever,
been a while.
I can stomach. I can.
I remember I liked the Riddler, I liked Two-Face in there, but
Well,
I was
maybe
like,
not the Riddler, but it's
I was
the
like
fact that you
12
like the
when I
actors,
saw
but
it.
honestly, George Clooney is Batman, Bat Nipples, Arnold Schwarzenegger. On the fourth one all around. Alicia Silverstone's terrible in anything she's in, other than Aerosmith video. But I mean, honestly,
What about Clueless?
That's a girly movie, but it's still all right. And Paul Rudd's in it, so it's got some.
He's in it
credibility.
too? Holy
Yeah.
shit.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I like the Tim Burton ones a lot. Christopher Nolan's done like a bang up job with it. But yeah, Batman Forever I could have lived with if he would have just stopped there. But Batman and Robin was just like, I mean, everybody universally hates that. It's terrible. Like, I remember there's like the scene that I completely just got pissed off at the movie. Because, I mean, it's ridiculous from the start, but the scene that pissed me off the most is there's a scene where Robin's getting pulled underwater by some of Ivy's plants. And they just reversed the footage of him being, like, escaping. And I'm like, seriously, like, what's the budget on this movie?
For like a big budget summer blockbuster.
Yeah, like, well, let's just rewind the footage of him escaping, and it looked like he's getting pulled down, and nobody will notice it. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, seriously? But I guess one good thing to come out of Joel Schumacher doing it is all the Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes. And I mean, Mr. Freeze quotes are funny, and that's I guess if anything positive to say about it, it's that. But other than that, it's just a train wreck. So.
I'm looking on Metacritic right now to see if they got the scores for those.
You haven't seen Batman and Robin, Dale?
No, I bought it recently as part
Dude,
of
we
the...
gotta watch that.
I got it as part of the 4-pack for at Target. I saw a 4-pack of the first 4 Batman movies for $10. I was like, all right, it's been a while. I think I saw all those when I was a little kid, so I barely remember a thing except for Batman and Robin and everything. So I think one day I'll do marathon all 6 Batman movies, excluding the Adam West one. But
I was so excited when Batman Return came out, and Paul Rubens was in it, and Pete Rehrman, for those who don't know his real name. But
Batman Forever got a 51 Metacritic rating. Batman and Robin, 28.
Yep.
Batman Begins got a 70. That seems kind of low.
Yeah.
I like Batman Begins.
Yeah,
That's
those
really
critics
good.
out there that hate everything.
Yeah,
it's not
that's true.
Indie movie.
That's true. Okay.
If it doesn't make you want to kill yourself, they don't like it.
Next up, another regular poster and listener, Plank Fan. He asks, what are your thoughts on Superman on the N64? And before he answers to that, we got another response from him by Rusty Shackelford saying, fun fact, Superman 64 isn't an actual game, but Superman for the N64 is.
Ooh.
Burn! No, that's the actual title, but everyone I know just calls it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the easy way to reference it. And then Rusty goes on to say, I can't remember too many superhero games that weren't Capcom fighters. I remember Superman, Spider-Man, I think there was a Batman or two, and a horrible Spawn game on the Dreamcast. We will talk about that later.
I wouldn't really call Superman for the N64 a game.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Games I have fun at, and
Yes.
there's objectives, and this one's just
Terrible.
like programming mess on a screen that I paid for.
It was just like the managers came in like halfway through the development process. And
We're shutting
they're
it
like,
down,
hey,
guys. Put it out.
We're here to ship the game, but we're only halfway done.
Too bad.
But we'll touch more on it later. So
Kryptonite fog.
thanks again for everyone who posted. Keep those questions coming. But all right, now on to start down. We kind of broke it down by system and platform, and some of them are multi-platform, so there'll be some crossover. But
Yeah, I got to start off with a multi-platform though, just so we don't backtrack here. But
yeah,
I don't know. Should kick it off then?
go for it.
All right, guys. Once again, thanks for waiting for this. But here we go. We're going to start up on this. All right, our first game. No particular order, by the way. It's just kind of like sat down and just started working on this. So
And it's just worth for prefacing. You actually own every single one of these games.
Yep.
And
no, not the Men in Black ones, but I'm not going to buy them.
95% of them.
Yeah, to be honest with you guys, since we did the last show, I've spent like literally hundreds of dollars and gone out and tracked down almost every comic book game.
And we actually threw in all these games. We tried and get a little bit of time in with them. And
some of them a long time ago,
yeah.
but we still remember quite a bit.
Before we did part 3, when we were originally going to do part 3, we actually sat down, played through every one of these you owned, and we threw a few more in last week just to get refreshed on them, and we've played other ones too throughout the course of the year. So yeah, and mostly you did a lot of research here, getting a lot of information. So so let's get into it.
All right. Number one game. Gone with the theme song at the beginning for this just to kick it off. We got Spider-Man 2000. It came out by Neversoft Activision. This was on the N64, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. It was a one-player beat-em-up. Actually used the Tony Hawk Pro Skater engine.
Yeah, the Neversoft guys. Yeah, they're stepping out of their skateboarding shell, man. I was a little skeptical at first, like thinking, how can they make a Spider-Man game? But they proved me wrong. Definitely
turned out good. Kind of basic story here is Spider-Man is framed by an imposter who steals an experiment from Doc Ock. While escaping, the imposter destroys Eddie Brock's camera, and it kind of pisses him off, and the Venom symbiote comes, kind of surfaces. So basically the plot of the game is Spider-Man must clear his name, fight Venom because he's mad at him, and then find out the imposter that's stealing stuff from Doc Ock. So kind of along the way you receive help from the Marvel Universe. So some differences in the consoles is the PlayStation and Dreamcast version actually had pre-rendered cutscenes, while the N64 had comic stills. And I think I have the N64 version, you have the PlayStation, so we'll have to maybe compare those one day.
I don't even own the N64 version. I was thinking of getting it. I wanted to get it on one. I wanted to get it on Dreamcast, but it didn't.
I remember the N64 is a little fuzzy, so get it on the PlayStation or Dreamcast if you're going to pick it up. But kind of some different mode in there. There was a what-if mode, and there was a little bit of difference in the replay. Just kind of tweak some things up, but the major storyline stays the same. The game featured alternate suits, such as the symbiote, the Venom suit, the Unlimited, Street Clothes, Quick Change, Amazing Bagman. And for those of you guys that don't know, Amazing Bagman, actually, early comic books, Spider-Man wanted to join the Fantastic Four and broke into the Baxter Building. There we go. I'm like, don't forget on the comic show. But he broke in the Baxter Building, and they gave him a suit with a bag over his head because his suit got messed up. So that's where that came from. The Spider Armor, which only appeared in one actual issue, Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, and Captain Universe. The suits gave you new abilities, and you can get them by either completing stuff in the game or using codes. Certain characters that appeared were Black Cat, Daredevil, Mary Jane Watson, Human Torch, Punisher, and Captain America.
The ending is awesome for this game, by the way, speaking of Punisher.
Nice. Dale has a little story at the end for that. Some of the bosses you're going to fight in this game, Scorpion, Rhino, Venom, Lizard, Mysterio, Doc Ock, and Carnage. And the game uses a lot of the voices from the animated series, which I was a huge fan. A little bit of tidbit of trivia for you guys.
Fun fact.
The guy that did the voice of Peter Parker in the cartoon was actually Bobby Brady in the Brady Bunch movies in the early 90s. And I didn't discover that until I was watching one on TBS one day. I'm like, man, that guy sounds like Spider-Man from the early Fox Kids cartoon. And I was like, God, that's sad that I know that.
Is it as bad as discovering Urkel being the voice of Sonic?
No, I knew that going into it. That's why I didn't watch the show. But and I do apologize. We're kind of both got off of work and we're getting a little tired. So if I screw up any of my comic trivia, don't be too harsh on me. So, but
no.
Dale,
you correct us, and you make sure we get it right.
And Dale will ridicule me on air. But Dale, you got a little bit of talk about the web slinging and some of the Punisher cutscenes.
Well, like the Punisher thing, a little quick, is I just remember watching you beat this back when we were roommates, and I just remember watching you beat the final boss, and I think there was a main ending, but I think if it was either after the credits kind of thing or like a bonus thing added on. You see like Spider-Man playing poker with Punisher and I think Daredevil and Nick Fury. And it's like, oh shit, there's a Punisher. All right, this game's instantly awesome now. But no, I think the thing that won me over about this game is, before your 2D Batmans on the SNES, NES. They had a little bit of web slinging in there. Some of your trademark Batman traits in there, but
you mean Spider-Man?
That's what I meant. Spider-Man. But the thing on the PS1, N64, Dreamcast game was, I'm
sorry.
They got the web slinging down great, dude.
Yeah.
And like the climbing the walls of buildings and stuff. I mean, it was still kind of linear. They really directed you where to go with the little spider sense meter. But I know the PS2 games, PS2, Xbox, GameCube games based off the movies really, redefined it. But like the ones developed by Neversoft were like the first games to really get that sense of web slinging and climbing the walls down, and just made it awesome.
It's kind of said they've taken it's almost like they've taken a step backwards since the PS2 Xbox era for Spider-Man games. It's like
This gen, they haven't really got it right.
I'll see how Shattered Dimensions turns out, so we'll talk about that one when it comes out.
Of course, we got the sequel coming up here next. And this is called Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. And, Neversoft didn't develop it, but I think they lended their engine and their code to Vicarious Visions, another Activision developer. And this one only came out on PS1 in 2001. Another single-player beat-em-up game, same engine. And the villains in this game were Shocker, Sandman, Beetle, and Hammerhead. Also Lizard and Electro. And they had training in the Danger Room by Rogue and Professor X. You gotta have your rudimentary training missions. You gotta have those in Spider-Man. And you also had multiple suits, just like the first game, like Matt said, but also included Creative Spider Mode, which allowed you to use 3 powers on a costume of your choice. And I kind of had mixed reviews around release time, and game release was impacted by the 9/11 attacks because of some of the scenes on the North Tower of the World Trade Center level, and the names of the area were changed. So this game actually had to get some last-minute editing and censoring there.
Yeah, from what I read, the game was just about to come out, and basically the World Trade Center attacks happened, and a lot of the ending of the game revolved about you being on the top of the World Trade Center, so they actually had to take out some of the things and change the name, change some of the cutscenes. And replaying this, I remember we actually, the early level, the very first level, you actually get trained by that beast on the rooftop, so...
That's cool.
I'll have to throw that in my notes there, but good thing we went through and replayed that, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I really know those games. I liked them. I don't know if I like them as much as the ones based off the movies, Spider-Man 1 and 2 anyways, but those ones are still good. I thought they still held up and played fine. Yeah. Looked fine, especially for, considering your average 3D PS1 games,
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to go through and try to actually beat this one, because I've beaten the first one, but I want to finish the second one, so... just to know that up until for a while now, these are all going to be on the PlayStation. So just a side note for that.
Yeah, we're focusing on PS1 exclusives now. Yeah.
Yep. Next game on the list is Fantastic Four from 1997 from Probe and Acclaim.
And what an exclusive it was, man.
4-player beat 'em up, if you could call it that. I guess it's kind of a side scroller, more or less. That's the way they described it online.
It had 3D backgrounds.
Yeah, they all kind of played the same in that time. So you get to play as Fantastic Four, Human Torch, Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, and they also threw in She-Hulk in there. Some of the villains are going to be fighting is Mole Man, Super Skrull, Atuma, Submariner, Psycho Man, and Doctor Doom. There were 3 bonus rounds, which basically, if you complete a level without dying, you get a bonus fight afterwards. There's Dragon Man, the Incredible Hulk, and Iceman. And if you're wondering why they chose Iceman, developers couldn't get the rights to Silver Surfer for some reason. So they kind of just threw Iceman in there, and I'm like, really? No, we can't get Silver Surfer. Let's just throw Iceman in there for no apparent reason.
Ended up being kind of relevant due to Silver Surfer being a major player in the second movie.
Yeah. No, this wasn't even a movie time. It's nothing, but I don't know why they couldn't get him at the time. I got to look into that a little bit more. But they also this game. Oh God, what a terrible game. But they had a cheesy icon, which a block of cheese would appear in the corner every time you overused the move. Which there weren't many moves in the game, so you got this quite a bit.
Cheesing the move, man.
I'd say the game is really average if unplayable. The graphics are terrible, and I guess the one thing I've noticed it's the very first Fantastic Four game. But I mean, playing through this, oh God,
that awesome music.
Yeah, you can, man. I don't know how to describe the music other than being an uncomfortable mix of elevator jazz.
Yes. Why is this the background music for a comic book beat 'em up?
It does make me want to beat things up, yes. But definitely check it out on YouTube. I'm sure that actually I think there's quite a few videos up with the soundtrack to this game, so definitely check out some of the background music because it's so ridiculous. So, yes. Acclaim in your crappy superhero games, but
all right,
it's the LJN of a generation.
Yes, by the time they got their shit together, it was too late and they're heading down the drain.
We'd use the Price is Right noise, but
we don't want to overuse it again. I guess next game on the list is another song worthy of that sound effect, and I still got it.
You still got it?
I still got it.
You got to pay for that, Dale. $500. That's sad.
You got to say bookmarked or something?
I did, yeah. It's actually bomb, 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 woo, with 5 O's. So,
Wow. That's crazy.
there's some good links on that side, though. I got a Deal or No Deal spin-off called Meal or No Meal, and I actually play that when I'm bored, but it's terrible. Alright. Now that we've gone off track.
Okay, so, like I was saying, here's another game worthy of that sound effect. We're talking about Hellboy Asylum Seeker. This came out way late in the PS1 life cycle. 2003. It should have came out as a PS2 game, but, you know, like your average movie license game is the rush development cycle, and they're like, well, we only got 3 months to make this instead of your average 5 months for a movie license game, so we really only can do that on PS1 tech.
This wasn't a movie license game.
Or, I mean, comic book license game. I want to say it came out at the same time as the movie, right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, maybe it did.
Or a while, so because I remember.
No, you're right. It did come out around the movie time, but I don't think.
Because I want to say when we were playing, I'm like, oh, this looks like the characters right out of the movie, kind of.
I don't think it tied into the movie. From what we played of it, mind you, and then we didn't get very far, and we'll explain that why we didn't get very far. But God, I forgot about that. I didn't think Hellboy came out that long ago. Now that I think about it,
First one. Yeah.
Wow, that's been out for a while now.
Yeah. Because I think there's a little bit of a gap between the sequels, like 3 or 4 years or so.
Yeah, there was. That's sad. Anyways,
we're old. But yeah, this
no.
But yeah, a lot of people think of Hellboy being, you know, mostly the movie. It was actually based off a comic, and well, this game was, I'm pretty sure, based off the movie. But it was a one-player action game, and huge flop. 4 years in development, I guess, not really 4 months, but a poor port of a buggy PC game. The developer Cryo went under shortly afterwards. Had a pretty good opening cutscene, actually. You could tell that's probably where all the work went into those first 4 years. But once you get into the in-game graphics, it looked and played like crap. You had tank controls. The dual analog stick controls were just janky and unplayable. The camera was horrible. Load times were everywhere. This game was crap, and you only had 2 punch attacks from what we could decipher, from what we can muster from our experience with the battles. And the graphics, for even being like a last-gen PS1 game, were several years behind the curve.
I'm actually glad that wasn't a launch title.
Yeah.
If that had came out on the PS2 as a launch title, that'd have been bad. I mean, really bad.
Yeah, we this is another one. This is one of the ones we threw in last week, and
I think we made it like maybe an hour.
That was probably more like a half hour.
Was it?
Yeah.
It seemed like an hour.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I was really depressed after playing this.
Me too.
What do you say after that?
Me too.
When a game depresses you by how horrible it is.
I bet that game sure is in hell.
But, no. It's one of those things like, I'm sure there's like a ton of Hellboy fans out there like, oh man, they're making a Hellboy game. And they get like, like what have they done? Like,
they got me again.
Oh god.
Was it as bad as this next game, Matt?
I don't even have much info on this game. I have this game, but
I think we threw it in for a little bit, but we didn't want to throw it in again.
No. Oh god.
We referenced some YouTube videos instead.
Yeah. Spawn the Eternal, 1997 by Sony, actually. SCEA. It's a one-player action game. Literally, this is my notes for it. One-player action game, horrible reviews, and I just wrote bad. Because I played this game. It's just terrible. It's a terrible game.
I remember crappy clipping,
everything.
Fighting mechanic.
We just gave up. I'm just like, I'm done with this. Like,
fuck it.
Everything's tank controls. Like, I think that was a sign of bad comic book games on this generation. Is if it had tank controls, it was just terrible. Like all of them had all the bad ones had tank controls, and it wasn't just the tank controls that were bad. It was the graphics. Like the story was terrible. It was just like a sign. Like if you started the game and you had tank controls, you knew you were in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got a fun one to go for next. I'll get the sequel.
Okay, X-Men Mutant Academy. Came out in 2000 by Activision and developed by Paradox, same guys who developed the awesome Backyard Wrestling games. Actually, they're alright, but they actually went on to redeem themselves a little bit with Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. But this game is a one-on-one fighting game, and it had 10 playable characters: Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, Beast, Phoenix, Toad, Mystique, Magneto, and Sabretooth. And you're probably thinking X-Men fighting game. You're probably thinking, you know, those Capcom fighters. But this one's actually different. This one those crazy over-the-top Capcom fighters with the tag battling and everything. This one is more of a straightforward. I think if you want to say, try to be more of a technical fighter, trying to learn more combos and stuff like that, and try to separate itself, you know, being more of a different alternative. And I remember playing it a lot with you a while ago, and I remember being all right for the time. I didn't like it as much as the Capcom fighters, but I remember it still being okay.
It was its own thing. I think it's very unique. I'm just going to jump into like the second one here real quick, and then we can just kind of talk both of them as a group, because they kind of both came out like right after each other.
Yeah.
I remember like seeing like, oh, Mutant Academy, that looks cool, and then I'm like, I must have gotten it towards the end of its run, because Mutant Academy 2 came out like a couple months after that, and I was just like, oh, a second one, alright, I'll pick that one up too, and I'm like, whatever, you know. So, X-Men Mutant Academy 2 came out in 2001 by Paradox as well, same gameplay style. A couple things it introduced was 4 modes of Academy, Training, Arcade, Versus, and Survival, so there was 4 different ways to play the game. Roster increased a little bit. It's Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit, Storm, Phoenix, Beast, Toad, Mystique, Sabretooth, Magneto, Havoc, Nightcrawler, Forge, Rogue, and 4 unlockables. Psylocke, Juggernaut, Spider-Man, and Professor X.
Spider-Man's not an X-Man.
But he was in there. He was an unlockable character, so Professor X was kind of amusing too, because
I remember playing as Professor X, man. I'm like, oh, dude in a wheelchair.
Like Professor X, I'm like, they're gonna have him in a wheelchair, and sure enough, they had him in a wheelchair. I said the gameplay is exactly the same as the first one. They just introduced a couple modes. One thing of note is there's a pool level, which I thought was kind of fun because it actually takes all the characters' costumes and gives them like more of a pool level front. And for my geek cred here, the pool level thing is kind of from a set of trading cards that came out in 1994 when Fleer used to do Fleer X-Men cards. It was the Fleer Ultra X-Men cards.
I remember collecting trading cards.
Yes, that was a 90s thing. Definitely a 90s thing. So they're trying to bring it back, but I remember that was one of my favorite things is they did like a pool, like a set of pool cards, like all the characters in pool things. Mm-hmm. And Gambit was in there. I'm like, I'm a Gambit fan, so. But I really liked those games. I remember we used to play those too. They kind of always took a backseat to Marvel vs. Capcom too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're good, like you said, like you put in your notes, an alternative, you know, it's just something to throw in.
Yeah. And it'll never really beat it, but it's nice to see somebody else taking a stab at a Marvel fighter. So.
Yeah, true.
But nobody's really ever...
Well, they did do a PS2 game also, Next Dimension.
Yeah, we'll cover that. But
we'll talk about that later on, but... Oh, and I guess if you want to count, which we'll make sure to talk about in our next episode, Rise of the Immortals. That's another Marvel fighter.
Is that Marvel Nemesis?
Yeah, Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Immortals.
No, that's oh, that is next gen. Yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, it was PS2.
That was EA, right?
Yeah, EA.
Oh,
yeah. And they were going to do another one, but it got canceled.
That's good because I don't want to pay money for another one. I seriously, guys, like I don't like doing it, but I do buy the games at launch. Like whenever a new comic book game comes out, I do buy it
because I want to support them and make sure they make more crap.
No. I'm just like, I'm a fan. I'm like, I want to get a beat and stuff like that. So I always buy them at launch, and I hate it. I hate it so much. Like,
especially the movie license games.
Iron Man 2, I'm holding off on though, because I'm like, Iron Man 1, I'm like, fuck you, Iron Man 1. I played the demo for Iron Man 2, and I'm like,
no.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. $20 is the most I'll pay for this. So, Shattered Dimensions, though, I got some hope for that one. So,
next up, we have another Acclaim masterpiece. With Batman and Robin, and based off the great aforementioned movie we just discussed a little earlier.
It's just as good as the movie.
Just as good as the movie, and this is one we did throw in last week. A one-player action adventure that will send you sizzling review. No. This is based off a movie. It's by Acclaim, so it's a no-brainer. It's going to suck. You control Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. Kind of has elements of a sandbox game. Everyone playing, we can leave the Batcave and kind of go driving around town to our next missions. And I was like, wow, this actually seems kind of like a sandbox game, open world game for 1998, but not exactly like one, but kind of received horribly at the time. And
I'd say rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. And let's say it again. Tank controls, which resulted in sluggish movement and just horrible overall gameplay. Surprisingly, the graphics actually look pretty good for a PS1 3D game from 1998. And I was like, wow, that cape's actually animated kind of cool. Batman looks like Batman.
Yeah, I'd say like Batman was animated alright,
Yeah.
but the backgrounds were really
Yeah.
flat and ugly looking. But
Yeah.
the
That's
Batmobile
true.
was alright looking as well. So
Yeah. And you actually had like, action, like like single player, third person action levels, and you also had Batmobile levels, chases and shootouts on the Batmobile, mix it up, but
you got a lot of your gadgets too in this.
yeah, there's some Batman, like,
I think I kept throwing
Batarang.
smoke bombs
Yeah.
for some reason. Like I just kept throwing them. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna throw smoke bombs now. So
man, this game sucked.
yeah. You hit the training mode. We wandered into the Wayne Mansion and we were kind of walking around and we're like, oh look, a training area, and I'm just like, oh god, I keep falling. Keep falling. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, if we get out of this room, we can maybe try the game out a little bit. But yeah,
Fuck it.
I don't get this one.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
All right.
Get-
Wow. Another one actually. Blade. This is in 2000. This is based off the movie as well. It's from Hammerhead and Activision. It's a one-player action game and also features bad graphics and gameplay. Because taking controls on this one too, I was pretty sure it was. I remember this back in 2000, actually. My little brother rented this from Blockbuster, and I played it for him because he's like, I got stuck at this part. Can you play it? I'm like, okay. And then I ended up actually finishing it for him, which I don't know how I got through that game, but it was one of those things like, I don't even think I had a PS2 at the time. Or a PlayStation 1. Well, no, it was PS2 around that time, but I didn't have any game systems at that time, so I was like, whatever, I'm playing the game. I was happy. But playing it now, I remember you saw, we threw it in way back, and yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't know. I guess if you're a really hardcore fan of Blade, but I haven't played the second one yet. We're gonna throw that in here pretty soon.
I had to review the second one back in the day. Yeah, I got assigned to review. And
Is it better than the first?
it's actually, yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk about it on the next installment.
Okay.
It's actually a step up from this shit.
We'll leave that on a cliffhanger.
More of the same bad stuff, not worthy of our time. It was the first Blade game. Huzzah! Okay, this next one, I can't remember playing this one, but Batman Gotham City Racer. Gee, I wonder what kind of game this is. Well, Timmy, it's a two-player racing game with 51 missions of episode-based thrilling action. Cutscenes from the show, including cutscenes from a lost episode of the Batman animated series.
Well, actually, they consider fans of the series actually consider the clips because throughout the game, all the cutscenes actually make one coherent show. So, kind of like fans of the series consider it like a lost episode. So all the cutscenes put together, which I think you can watch on YouTube. So I know
it's got to be out there, yeah.
Yeah, we saw a couple of them. They're actually really good quality. So
Yeah. There's 15 vehicles with 25 characters, but, for being a racing game, this sure does have some shitty controls, at least according to your notes.
yes.
I probably played it with you when we did our marathon of all these games. I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I threw it in once. I kind of put a question mark after 25 characters because I was like, man, that sounds like a lot of characters for this, a lot of different vehicles. So I got to go back and replay it. I remember we played it a little bit, but there's a lot of these like I was ordering. I can say half.com has some amazing deals on some of these games, but don't pay too much. So, but when you're getting like 7 or 8 games at one shot, you're like, I'm gonna throw this one in again later. So
I'm going to get it. Next.
Oh boy, did I pick a winner on this one.
Danger Girl. You think of a name like Danger Girl, you're thinking, all right, someone in a marketing team for like a B budget publisher just cranked out
Action
one of the
Man.
few names that off the top of their head with a name like Danger Girl. But no, this is actually based off a comic book property. I remember when we were at the comic shop last month in Alexandria that I remember seeing some.
J. Scott Campbell, that's who did the art for this. He's the creator. I couldn't remember who it was.
I remember seeing some issues of this. I'm like, oh, it's Danger Girl. I remember even seeing some Danger Girl action figures, too. And they actually made a game off Danger Girl. And I forget who published it. I want to say it was Image or Dark Horse, but not, the game is like it was your third-person 3D single-player action game. I remember just from like the hour we spent with it. I remember it being okay.
For some reason, I can't remember because this is one of those games we threw in I think last year.
Yeah, it was one of the ones we threw in last year.
I want to say it reminded me of Tomb Raider, like as far as the gameplay goes, not as the story kind of stuff, but yeah, I remember the opening cutscene. There's a lot of focus on the breast in this one.
Yes.
So. It was like so obscene about it.
It was almost
we were just like, oh my god, like
almost to the levels of that one fucking IDOS game. You know what I'm talking. Fear Effect. Yes.
Yeah.
It was almost, yeah. I think it was M-rated too, if I remember right.
They need to make a Jack Stone game.
Yes.
And not that Lego Jack Stone. Jack Stone.
Jack Stone, Pete Wade. Men in action. All right. Matt?
I'm going to cover these back to back. Because you just took two.
And how are these next two based off comics again? I always remember them from the movies.
They're based off the movie, but the movie's based off a comic, so it's still a comic book game. I mean, honestly. I thought I'd throw them in there. I mean, there's some games I left on this, because I'm like, I don't want to cover anime games in this, but Men in Black and Men in Black, the series Crashdown. I'm just going to cover these in one shot. Men in Black came out in 1997. It's Gremlin Interactive and Double Helix. It's a one-player, third-person shooter. And the comic is actually originally released from Aircell Comics, and I think it was only actually 4 comics came out for Men in Black. And then Malibu picked up the rights, and Malibu ran with it for a little while. Men in Black, the series, that's based off the cartoon. Crashdown is the name of the game. That's a long name. The full name is Men in Black, the series Crashdown. So, yeah. That came out in 2001 by Runecraft Info Games. It's a first-person shooter with poor graphics, mediocre gameplay, and bad clipping. Like, just watch some videos. Yeah, it's just like falling through the floor and stuff like that. I kind of refuse to buy these. I'm like, I'm not going to buy crappy Men in Black movie tie-in games. I'm like, I don't even care if they're slightly based off of a comic book. I'm not going to pick them up. They look terrible. So,
but you're giving the collector's code a bad name.
I don't care.
Well, man, I think we're ready to move on to Nintendo 64 exclusives.
Pete Weed.
And I think what better way to start out with Nintendo 64 exclusives than Superman 6... Wait, no, just Superman.
For the 64.
For the N64, which almost every other person you talk to call it Superman 64. And
I'm going to go home and write Superman 64 on my cartridge. I'm going to write the 64 after Superman.
Okay, me too.
That way that's what it is.
This came out from the great people at Titus. Yep. Also responsible for other great N64 games like Virtual Chess 64 and Automobili Lamborghini. I'm not kidding, that's the name of a game. And, well, this game...
Like, you want me to say what it is, Dale?
Single-player clusterfuck.
Yeah, I'd say that pretty well describes it.
Yes. And I actually finally got around to buying... I saw it at a Midwest Gaming Classic earlier this year, out of a bin of games that were like, buy any 4 games for $10. And I saw Superman in there. I was like, why not? And, we had on tap, we had a booth at Midwest Gaming Classic with the rest of the other VG Evo podcast.
You decided to punish everybody.
And, I was like, yeah, I'm going to let some people who are... There's a lot of little kids at MGC, and I was thinking, a lot of these kids they probably grew up with a PS2, probably, and they probably haven't even played many PS1 and 64 games. And a lot of the podcast network podcasters had a video game set up for each of their booths, and a lot of them were running PS3 games or Xbox games. And I was like, you know what? And I brought my N64 there for the annual, No Mercy wrestling tournament I run. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to rotate some games. I'll buy a few other games to rotate in there. Why not? And I got a few other games, and I was just, you know what? I'm going to buy Superman and let other people play it. That's what I had people playing for the most part. And, yeah, I got joy in watching other people play it for a few minutes, see the utter looks of disgust on their face and pain and agony, and see them walk away in just sheer anger. So, but yeah, what can we say? The game is a mess. It's based off the animated series, considered one of the worst games of all time because the controls are horrible for Superman flying. The game starts you off with just this half-ass introductory cutscene where saying you gotta rescue Superman's friends, and you do this by flying through rings, which is actually a tutorial level to get you through the ring flying, the worst tutorial level. Yeah, it's bad. The physics for the flying is bad, and Luthor creates this virtual metropolis, and you got to rescue his trapped friends. And yeah, most of the levels you're flying through rings and doing these other. We only got to the third part of the game.
The sad thing is, I think we actually got farther than the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yes,
And I was just like, I'm proud of myself for getting further than him.
Definitely watch an Angry Video Game Nerd edition of Superman 64.
Oh my god.
Yeah, terrible graphics, controls, everything. If you make it this far, you may be able to get to see appearances by Parasite and the Brainiac. And that damn kryptonite fog.
Yeah. Okay, to explain this a little bit, the kryptonite fog is something that developers use to explain the fog, which a lot of N64 games were notorious for. A lot of them had that kind of like that fog in the background. Well, they're like, well, ours is kryptonite fog. And I'm like, nice cover, guys. Like seriously, like, really at the point of how terrible this game is, like, no, that's kryptonite fog. Like, okay, that explains everything, because Superman would be fucking dead if he was flying around in kryptonite fog.
Yep.
And like even their excuses are like, they're still not as bad.
Superman in the movie can lift up, in Superman Returns can lift up a whole planet made out of kryptonite.
An island.
Island planet made of kryptonite. Then he can fly around.
You got shot in the fucking eye, Dale. Got shot in the fucking eye.
Alright. Moving on.
This one's mine, and you don't steal this from me.
What's your turn?
Okay. You stole that last one from me.
No, I did.
You stole Danger Girl from me, Dale.
Did I?
You took Danger Girl. That's alright. I don't care.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. We got 3 of these ones to cover, so I'm sure we'll get at least one of them. But, alright, this one you guys have got to have played out there. I mean, if you guys had an N64, you had to have played Turok. I mean, really. Turok, 1997, Iguana Acclaim. An actually good Acclaim game. I will say that. First-person shooter.
Iguana was at the time, was their only, which later got renamed to Acclaim Studios Austin, was their only really renowned developer at the time.
Yeah, originally, Turok was a Gold Key comic.
Old school.
But by Valiant got the rights, and then Acclaim got the rights and did absolutely nothing with it, so that's good to know. Basically, the story revolves around you're kind of a Native American warrior fighting dinosaurs and other creatures, and you have to stop this character named the Campaigner from taking over the universe. So, throughout the game, you have to collect pieces of a chronoceptor, then scatter across levels. So, it's actually one of my first N64 games, which for a lot of people, I don't know if it was a launch title or not, but I remember it was like an early one, wasn't it?
It was, it came out like about half a year afterwards.
Okay. I love the weapons. I love the weapons at the time. It was one of those games that was a big third-party title on the N64. And we're kind of talking about it, like, things we really remember about the game is, like, the on-screen map and the cheat codes. And, I remember, like, I even remember the God mode. It's like, I think it's like nothing that God created.
Well, I think, like that. If I remember right,
it's just stuff without the vowels.
Acclaim released the codes, like, about a half a year after the game was out to kind of breathe new life into the game.
Yeah. I really liked the weapons at the time. Like, I mean, going back and looking at it now, it doesn't look as good, but at the time, I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I remember a lot of afternoons spent playing that. And I think I want to say for the second one, I think I even skipped school to play that when it came out. I remember like Blockbuster had it when it came out for rent. Yeah, 98. Actually, that's I told my mom I had diarrhea. And I'm not joking about it, dude. Seriously, it was like, I remember it came out, and if I want to say, I think it was winter '98, and we were just about to go on Christmas vacation in high school, and I was just like, oh man, Turok's coming out. I'm like, I think if the winter vacation, I think we had to go to school, like we had Saturday, Sunday off, and I think we went Monday, Tuesday, and then we had the rest of that week and the week after off. So I was like, well, I don't want to go to school Monday or Tuesday. So Monday morning, I'm just like, oh, I got diarrhea. I can't go to school. So I went over to Blockbuster when she was sleeping, and I rented Turok 2. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to stay home and play it for 2 days. So
good old Superstar Video.
Yep. Oh, man. That was good times. So yeah, I really like Turok 2. But I'll let you cover that one up next here.
We can kind of just lump them all together. I think a good thing to mention, too, about the first Turok was it was kind of a big stepping stone for first-person shooters on consoles. Kind of like, it kind of made a statement saying, hey, you know, first-person shooters on consoles can be more than just Quake and Doom ports.
Hexen.
And Hexen, yeah, but like more than PC FPS ports, you know, it, you know, really kind of had added a whole new layer for like storylines and objectives and stuff like in its weaponry he could do, and just really nailed the controls too. So, good stuff. But yeah, Turok 2: Seeds of Evil came out the next year, '98, by Iguana again, and made use of the expansion pack, so slightly less fog, and a new Turok is chosen and has to defeat the Primogen.
Yeah.
Primogen, who is trying to conquer the Lost Land. And you must do this by locating energy totems and through a dismemberment system.
No, that's actually a feature of the game, man. When you shoot enemies, you can actually blow their arms and legs off.
Like in Dead Space.
Yeah, I thought it was actually really fun at the time. I might throw in a little bit on this. The dismemberment system, when you shot them with arrows, I remember the cool thing is you could always go back and grab the arrows off their bodies, and I thought that was kind of neat at the time. It's like, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember too many games you could do that at the time. Like, once you shot some at an enemy, that was it. It's gone.
You could do it in Oblivion.
Well, I mean, that at the time, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can do that now, but I mean, at the time, I don't remember that happening too much.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I got all 3 Turok games, but the only one I really got a chance to spend any time with was the first one.
Oh, man. Yeah, you gotta play the next one. So
I do remember playing the multiplayer. Yeah, the second game introduced 4-player multiplayer. I never really, like, the multiplayer, I think, never really got it as good as GoldenEye, but...
it was still good. I think it was good in its own right, but, I mean, if you had GoldenEye, you're gonna be playing that instead, but, I want to bring it up, the Cerebral Bore. And I don't know if you remember what that is.
No.
But I totally remember what that is. And if you've ever seen the Phantasm movies, he's got the little metal balls that he controls, and they have this drill that goes in your forehead, and basically, like, this ball goes in your forehead and drills your brains and sucks them out the back of it. So basically, it sucks your brains out and sprays it everywhere, and it's just fucking awesome. Like, I remember that was, like, one of my favorite parts. Like, I played the second one, I'm like, oh my god, that's awesome. That's a cool weapon. So, the weapon really won me over in that, so...
Continuing the great weaponry.
Do you want me to cover the third one?
Yeah, why not? We'll go for it. Did the third one have even more badass weapons?
You know, I never played the third one.
Really?
I haven't, but I've never played it.
Oh, shit.
I played the first
So
two.
after skipping remember what diarrhea
happened.
to play the second one.
Yeah, if you remember what happened, I actually got the third one when we were roommates.
Yeah.
And we never really had time. I mean, honestly, like, we were always playing Marvel vs. Capcom or Onimusha and stuff like that, but I never really had time to get back into it, and I haven't had time since. I have it, but it's one of those things, like, I'm going to throw it in, actually go through and play it, but that's a continuous storyline from, like, Turok 2. Oblivion must be destroyed. The character's name is Oblivion. That's, like, the main threat in the game. The current Turok is Joshua Fireseed, and he's killed, and the player has to choose between his sister Danielle or his brother Joseph to take his place. The two players kind of play differently, which is kind of neat because you can choose between two players. Danielle has more of the firepower, whereas Joseph is more stealth. The characters each have their own set of weapons. They have a couple of unique ones, I should say. Most of the time they share weapons, but if you finish the game on the highest difficulty without dying or cheating, you can actually unlock Joshua again, and I think he can use all the weapons, is what I've been reading, so... It was actually really well received, which, I mean, the first two were real well received,
Yeah.
so. But overall, as a franchise, I mean, not only for first-person shooters, but comic book games in general, this is like a step above, so.
Yeah.
I mean, this really stands out as far as everything other than fighting games like the Spider-Man games, so.
Yeah, it was one of the last games to come out on N64. I remember it came out towards the tail end of 2000, and there's only like a few games released in 2001 and 2002, so, yeah, and it really made the most of the graphics, I remember.
Black cartridges, too, right?
Yep.
I remember that. Unfortunately, I think I'm actually going to cover the next one.
Well, actually, I was wondering if I could just throw one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. My bad.
Could throw Turok Rage Wars in here since we're covering Turok. I know it's not that one. Came out on PS1 also.
Yeah, multi-platform.
It was multi-platform, but I was figuring, since we're covering all the Turok games, why not just throw it in here?
That's crazy talk. No, I'm just kidding.
That makes too much sense. But no, yeah, that one kind of came out in the middle of it. The Turok trilogy on N64. It came out in '99. And this one wasn't really a story driven. It was more of a multiplayer focused Turok, still first person shooter. But you battle to maintain the land, maintain order in the Lost Land, and control the light burden, which controls the power of creation. That's your main narrative here. And yet you did have a single player and co-op campaign for the multiplayer modes, but the main draw was the competitive multiplayer, and you had various game types we got listed here. Bloodlust, Team Bloodlust, Capture the Flag, and Frag Tag. And Frag Tag, it's just you're pretty self-explanatory. Kill person, that person's it. Players are allowed 6 weapons, melee, 2 bullet, 2 energy, and 1 explosive. You also got power cores, which were acted as your power-ups, and 50 medals in the game had to be earned. And for your characters, just kind of characters we kind of already described from the trilogy here. You had Joshua Fireseed, Adon, Campaigner, Fireborn, Bastille, Syra Telset, and more. I don't know, did you get a chance to spend much time with this? I barely remember it.
Actually, this is one of the few I don't have.
Okay.
To be honest with you. I'm going to get it eventually, but I was just like one of those things, like, I don't really need this one. It was a 4-player, shoot 'em up, or, 4-player versus, excuse me, but, I did want to kind of just point out, the more I thought about it when I was reading it, it's like, you can unlock medals in the game, and the stuff you have to do really reminded me of achievements.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was kind of odd. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe there was a lot of games doing it at the time. I don't know. I mean...
What about GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, man? The stuff you got to do to get where's the ammo? And, like, most harmless.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll definitely give that game a try, but I'm going to jump into our last console-specific game, our console exclusive here. This is on the Saturn. Yes. One of my friends growing up actually had a Saturn, and I got a chance to play this. Otherwise, I probably would have never known about it. But it's Scud the Disposable Assassin. It came out in 1997 by Xerox and Segasoft. Mm-hmm. Kind of really unique game. It's a multiplayer side-scroller shooter hybrid. Like, you can play the game with a controller or a light gun. It got really kind of like mixed to low reviews, but it's kind of a favorite of mine. Like, I don't know, like, it's one of those things like, how many, like, most people don't even know what Scud is, let alone that there was a game for it. But
knew the comic, yeah.
It was a Fireman Press comic, which is a really indie label, but I kind of give you guys a rundown on the story. Scud is a disposable assassin bot from a vending machine in the future. Scud kind of like, it's one of those things, like, you can buy these assassins on a vending machines and they kill their targets and they explode. Well, he realizes he's going to self-destruct after killing his targets, so instead of killing him, he just kind of wounds them and puts them on life support. So from then on, he just takes jobs as a mercenary so he can pay for the life support so he can keep on living himself. And I thought it was a really unique thing. It's just kind of a wacky game, but I think I want to mention, like, we kind of played through this, like, it really does go from, like, a side-scroller to, like, a first-person shooter, like, pretty quick. Like, you walk down a doorway and all of a sudden, like, kind of got crosshairs on the screen. If you have a light gun, it really enhances.
Yeah, it's not like your traditional, like, not the first-person shooter like you know, but like more of a, like Hogan's Alley or Duck Hunt kind of point and shoot.
But if you have a light gun, though, I mean, it's literally a light gun game. It's kind of neat how they did it. So, but it's just one of those good. If you got a Saturn and you want something different or something really unique, it's definitely worth checking out. And it's not even. I don't even think it cost me that much money to buy. So, yeah, definitely give it a shot though. So.
Now, we do got Dreamcast exclusives, but we're going to save those for later. But we're going to move on to multi-platform games now. They're kind of came out on everything across the board.
Yeah, Dreamcast kind of straddled the end of kind of. That's why I kind of left that one at the end because it kind of.
A lot of the stuff
PlayStation 2 kind of era, like where it fell in the releases. So
yeah,
this is a big franchise coming up here.
Yes,
big series of games that's still going actually. So
yes. We're talking about the Versus series, kind of. But before we got any of the Versus games from Capcom, we got X-Men: Children of the Atom from Capcom and Acclaim. Actually, I think one published them on each system.
Yep.
It came out on PlayStation and Saturn. And this is a 2-player fighting game, but unlike the Mutant Academy games we discussed a little bit ago, these ones were more just completely crazy, over-the-top fighters. Just probably
I feel like your Street Fighter Darksiders style game.
Yeah,
like.
All these crazy, over-the-top attacks. Which, if you're like me, when I remember playing these, they're like probably more of the X-Men fighting game I wanted.
Yeah.
Instead of Mutant Academy, and this is the first of a Marvel Capcom fighting franchise for a long time running, and there's actually 2 years in between the Saturn and PlayStation releases for some reason. But as with the rest of the series, it follows the Street Fighter style, but just more crazy attacks. And features it introduced the super jump, and rolling after falling, aiming projectiles, and pursuit of opponents after a throwdown.
I think after they introduced some of these things, like I think this kind of crossed over into Street Fighter as well, didn't it? Yeah, like
pressing down up real quick does a. Gosh, I forget the term for it. There's another term for it, but it's right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it. I'll remember it later.
I know in the Marvel versions they just refer to it as a super jump from what I've known. So
yeah, it's called something. Gosh, I forget what it's called. Fuck it, I don't care. But yeah, that introduced air fighting as a big part of games. I remember even seeing it in the arcades and being like, wow, your characters could jump really high and fight in the air for a while. That's a big deal. there wasn't really no real story, as with most fighting games at the time. But for your characters, you got heroes and selectable heroes and villains. For your heroes, you had Colossus, Cyclops, Iceman, Psylocke, Storm, and Wolverine. For your villains, you had Omega Red. I remember I always feared his fucking crazy ass.
The tentacles.
Those tentacles. Yeah. Sentinel, Silver Samurai, Spiral, and for your bosses, you had Juggernaut and the ultimate end boss, Magneto. And hidden via code, you can find Akuma. So, yeah, I remember, just great. Awesome fighting game, crazy. This next one is,
I definitely get the Saturn version on that.
Yeah.
Though. I'd say with all these, like if you have a choice between the PlayStation and Saturn, if you own a Saturn, get the Saturn version.
Yeah, the Saturn is more
we'll
designed for 2D gaming.
We'll kind of talk about that too, because I think it comes up later on in one of these where the Saturn really took advantage of the arcade system, and the PlayStation had really bad limitations to it. So.
All right, yeah. What about this next Marvel fighting game?
Oh, okay. We got Marvel Superheroes from 1997 and Capcom as well. The PlayStation Saturn. It's 2-player fighting, just like the first one. I'm like, we don't really have to say 2-player fighting. I mean, they're really all the same up until you get the tag fighting system in the later ones. But second one, obviously, the Marvel Capcom fighting games. It was based off the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. The player can gain power gems during fights, and those gems, will grant special attributes such as speed and power. There's infinite combos in this game, which is kind of unique. There's no limits to the hit, and that cannot be blocked. So essentially, like if somebody hits this certain combo on you, it just keeps going, and you can't block it. So basically, it's like an instant kill combo. I mean, that's it. The characters in this one, they changed it up a little bit. You get Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Psylocke, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. The villains are Blackheart, Juggernaut, Magneto, Shuma Gorath, Doctor Doom, and the last boss is Thanos. Hidden in the game is Anita from the Darkstalkers, and that was only in the Japanese, though, which would have been kind of nice to have in the American version, but I kind of find it odd that they had a Psylocke in there for the heroes. I mean, when they think of your Marvel heroes, I mean, you got Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, like Wolverine I can see too, but like really Psylocke, like...
She's part of the X-Men, so...
Yeah, I just think, like, right now, I mean, if you go to it, I mean, like, she must have been, like, a huge character at the time, but, like, I could see a lot of other characters being in there in his stead, I guess, so... I don't know, maybe, like, the Thing from Fantastic Four, or... I don't know, something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thor? Yeah.
Thor, that'd make too much sense.
But Thor finally made his debut in MVC3, so...
Yes.
Really, that's all I have on that one, so I'll let you just jump into the next one.
Yeah, I do remember playing this with you, and kind of... I don't remember having as much fun in that one as Children of the Atom.
Well, I think I have Children of the Atom on the Saturn, and then I have Superheroes on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And one of the things I noticed about the PlayStation versions is there's a lot of slowdown.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, like I said, if you like the more arcade authentic, you want to get the Saturn versions. So.
And I think, too, with this next one, X-Men vs. Street Fighter. It came out in 97 and 98 on both PlayStation and Saturn. It added tag battles. Or not tag battle, but it added the assists that it introduced tag team mechanics, but they were cut on the PlayStation version due to system limitations, and it kind of had downgraded the graphics and had a lot of slowdown. But you did have assist attacks, and I thought that really changed up the gameplay. I remember this is one we played through, and when we got to the end of the final boss, Apocalypse, that was just crazy. And I was surprised that even played well on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it was a sign of things to come with all the crazy tag battles and stuff. But for your characters, you had Cyclops, Gambit, Rogue, Storm, Juggernaut, Sabretooth, Magneto, and Wolverine representing the X-Men. And for the Street Fighter side of things, we had Ryu, Ken, Cammy, Chun-Li, Charlie, Zangief, Dalsum, M. Bison, and Akuma. So pretty packed roster there. You can tell they're starting to get a lot more packed rosters. So I thought this was far better than Marvel Superheroes, because I remember we played these right after the other. And, good stuff.
Yeah, final boss in that was Apocalypse. I just thought I'd throw that in there. And he's also the final boss in the next one. I thought it was really cool. Like, I didn't know that the final boss was Apocalypse.
Oh, and also there's like an evil Akuma too right before Apocalypse.
Actually, I think that's the next one. I think you're thinking the wrong one, Dale, because I don't think I have X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Oh.
I think I have Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter.
Oh.
I think you're backwards on this one because I was like, I don't think I have X-Men versus Street Fighter because that one's actually selling for like $75 on eBay. So like,
okay, because I want to say the one we played had tag battles.
Yeah, the arcade version for X-Men vs. Street Fighter had tag mechanics for it, but the PlayStation 1 version didn't.
Okay.
Superheroes had, that one had like a, kind of like assist in it, but I'll cover that one real quick. This one came out in 99 on PlayStation and Saturn. This is the fourth in the series, and this one actually gets credited for
Saturn only in Japan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one,
Saturn is dead in America.
We'll kind of talk about these, yeah. The fourth one is more balanced than the predecessors. They kind of like evened everything out a little bit. It's similar to X-Men vs. Street Fighter in the fact that the PlayStation version was inferior. I don't know if you really covered this in the last one, but the arcade version and the Saturn versions are really close together because the Saturn version uses the expansion cartridge that's packed with the game. The PlayStation version, they didn't have it, so I mean, like, really the game was limited. The graphics were pretty bad. The slowdown got really bad, which like I said, you want to get it on the Saturn if you can. Because slowdown, I mean, like, there's points where I would jump and, like, the game would, like, just kind of crawl along, so. But, I know this one did pick up a little bit better. It's a little bit easier to play on the PlayStation. Bigger roster in this, actually. A lot bigger, but if you can kind of, like, color swaps and stuff like that. But, basic characters are, for Marvel side, is Blackheart, Captain America, Cyclops, Hulk, Omega Red, Shuma-Gorath, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. For Capcom, you have Akuma, Chun-Li, Dan, Dhalsim, Ken, M. Bison, Ryu, Sakura, and Zangief. Your bosses are Apocalypse and then Cyber Akuma, we kind of mentioned last time.
Okay, yeah.
The secret ones, and some of these are swapped. I mean by color swap is, you have the alternate colors, but, U.S. Agent is a swap of, Captain America, which means just the black, red, and white. Mephisto, Armored Spider-Man, who actually has extra resistance, so it's not just a color swap, but he's got a little bit of actual armor on him. Mech Zangief, which is also known as Zombie Zangief. Sunburned Sakura, which is also known as Evil Sakura by fans. Shadow, which is actually Robot Charlie. And Narimo, which is a Japan exclusive, which I actually really find this amusing. It's a nerdy schoolboy fighter who throws school supplies and asks for autographs. And he also throws, like, little toy versions of Ryu and Ken, from what I've read, so I kind of...
Why, Capcom?
I kind of find that amusing. Like, I would love to see that stateside, but that's kind of fun, so... Alright, skip over Spider-Man again.
Yep. Next up, then, on the list here, and we have, at the time, one of the few Hulk solo adventures, and that was, The Incredible Hulk, the Pantheon Saga for PlayStation and Saturn, and this came from Eidos and Silicon Dreams, and this was a one-player platform side-scroller, loosely based on a comic, but the levels weren't really all that connected. Gameplay was noted as difficult, but when we played, we didn't know what the hell we were supposed to do. Yeah, it sucked. PlayStation era didn't age that well with bad graphics, and you go back to a lot of PlayStation games and graphics don't really age that well. This was one of them. For the characters that were in the game, we had the Pantheon, Atlanta, Ulysses, Ajax, and Hector. For villains, we had Piecemeal, Trauma, Lazarus, the UFOs, and Maestro. I don't know if you have anything to add on this, man. I don't really remember it too well.
I threw it in, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I don't know. I guess it's more of a side scroll a little later on, but when I put it in, I was like, I really don't know what's going on. And I thought it was kind of funny when I was looking this up. I did a little research on Wikipedia, but I had a question mark behind Lazarus, which... The comic book reference here, I guess. I had a Hulk annual, which that Hulk annual I had, like the only Hulk annual I have ever bought, had Lazarus in it, so I actually know who he is. And I don't even know if they've used him since then, but he was used in at least one annual, and I remember I had a trading card of him, and I'm like, yeah, I actually know who that guy is. And I'm like, I'm a loser. But I honestly didn't see any of the characters in this, because I was like, I'll probably give this game another shot and actually try to finish it, but... Man, from what I played of it, I didn't even know what to do here, but... This next one is,
I know one you're looking forward to talking about.
I told you before we started this, I'm like, I'm taking this one, so... Alright.
Only a game of great magnitude could be worthy of such dibs.
Yeah. Crow City of Angels, from 1997, Gray Matter and Acclaim, another Acclaim classic. This is for the PlayStation and Saturn. And I'm just going to start this off with this. I'm a huge Crow fan. Like, I love the first movie. I read the comic books. I've read the novels and stuff that have been based off of, which are really good novels out there. But I rented this from Blockbuster when it came out. And I saw, I'm like, oh, Crow game, that's awesome. I totally got to check it out. So I rented it out, and it was so bad. Like, I put it in, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And, like, I'll kind of finish the story after I explain a little bit. But just from the opening cutscene on, I knew it was going to be terrible. Like, the graphics are just awful. Like, it's just a one-player game. It's kind of like a beat-em-up game. Like, there's a pre-rendered background. You kind of wander in it. And, of course, there's tank controls, because what good acclaim action hero, superhero game would there be without tank controls? But, the story's kind of based on the movie, which is based on the book. You play as Ash Corbin, and you have to avenge your and your son's death because he got killed by some drug dealers and whatnot. God, everything about this game is sloppy. Like, the storyline, they already had a movie to work with, so it's not that hard to make up a story, I mean, honestly. But when I rented this, I put it in, I played it for like an hour, and I was so pissed off. Like, this is like my rental of the weekend, like the one game I could rent for sure. Like, I only had money for one game. I rented this, and I got so pissed off, I took my lighter, and I just kind of, like, singed the bottom of the disc, just to leave, like, a black mark on it. Like, PlayStation discs are black, so nobody could really tell, so I just singed the bottom, and then I rubbed it off, and I put it back in to make sure it wouldn't work, and I just returned it to Blockbuster. I was like, yeah, I got this home, and it didn't work, so... And I'm like, I got another rental out of it, so I guess that was good, but... And hopefully nobody else could get that game to work, because I really feel bad for them if they did, because to waste your money on that. I mean, Blockbuster at the time, like, they're ridiculous now for prices to rent a game, so when you're in high school and you don't have a job, it's like, you're $5 for a game, you're like, oh man, I got $5 left, I can rent one game, and I get this piece of shit, like, it's like when you're a kid and you get a Nintendo game for the week, and your parents are like, oh, you can only rent one game, and you get, like, the crappiest game you could have picked, but...
Did you end up rebuying this to add to your collection?
Yeah, I got the Saturn version, because I guess, like, is it the PlayStation? No! Both versions of this are super rare. I remember this came out, like, if I want to say... God.
You got a 97 on your notes here.
97, yeah. I thought maybe I read something else here about it, but, it's only Crow game first off, so, I mean, it's got a little bit of cult status around it, but, it's worth a lot of money, and I was like, I don't want to pay like $100 for this game. So I've seen it up for like $80 to $90, and I actually walked into a used game store, like a used video store actually, that had it for sale, and I got it for like $19, which I'm like, I don't even want to pay $20 for this, but that's way better than paying like $80 or $100. So I picked it off of that, but honestly, like, just look at the online.
Was
videos.
it worth it?
No, it's worth it to own it, I guess. But other than that, I mean, I'm not going to play it. I'll give it a shot one day just to laugh at it. Maybe we'll throw a YouTube video up ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So.
On tap commentary. The Crow.
Yeah.
Moving on to something less painful than The Crow, we got Iron Man. Yes, he had a game before those awful movie license games.
Oh, Sega.
We got Iron Man and Exo Man o' War in heavy metal in 1996 from Acclaim, our favorite guys. But, yes, if you're wondering who the hell Exo Man o' War is, that's another character that Acclaim acquired through Valiant and Gold Key. Later made comics under the Acclaim Comics label, but yeah, this was it actually wasn't a bad game. Me and you play this. It could be a 1 or 2 player side scroller. Yeah. Beat 'em up, and I think that at the time it was like real early in the PlayStation's life cycle. They were trying to mix in some 3D background elements. Thinking you can shoot the backgrounds, kind of like you can in Shadow Complex now, to kind of relate it to something similar, but it wasn't really as polished. But I guess as a 2-player co-op game, it was all right. Yeah, I remember we played it for a while. I got quite a ways into it actually.
Did we die or did we just give up?
I think we got to a timed level, if I remember right, where we had to beat a level before like a nuke went off or something, and we couldn't get out of the damn building no matter how hard we tried. And
shitty time levels.
Yes, curse you, time limit levels. But as far as like the storyline goes, Iron Man and Exo, they got to team up to stop baddies from recovering pieces of the cosmic cube and save the universe. And you can play as either character and upgrade their laser beams and weapons throughout the game. But it kind of got bad reviews at the time. But we didn't hate the game that much. I just thought it was just kind of generic and repetitive. But I guess compared to the rest of the crap we covered so far, it was a step up.
This is the cream of the crap, right?
So there you go. And I actually kind of tracked down and bought it last year, and it's all right.
It's not a bad game. If you're looking for something to kill an afternoon with a buddy, it's worth picking up. But
on to you.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into this one. This is Shadow Man. It came out in 1999 from Acclaim. An actual decent Acclaim game. That's not Turok. But it's on the PlayStation, N64, and Dreamcast. Single-player platformer. You play as Michael Leroy, who is saved by Mama Nettie after the death of his family, who becomes Shadow Man. Shadow Man, it's kind of like a line of warriors. They're African voodoo warriors that are granted powers to protect the world from the dead side. And the dead side's basically hell. It's just a spiritual plane where everyone goes where they die. Shadow Man has to prevent the serial killers known as the Five and their leader Legion from bringing the apocalypse. And like the game kind of starts out with the guy killing himself, and that's one of the Five, quote unquote. So just to name the Five here, it's their names and like what they're known for. Milton Pike, who's the video nasty killer. Marco Cruz, the repo man. Avery Marks, home improvement killer. Insert Tim Allen noise. John G. Pierce, Jack the Ripper. Victor Batrashian, the Lizard King. And then obviously you got Legion's the leader of it, which I never finished the game, so I don't know anything about it. But the things I know is like characters worth mentioning is Jaunty, the skull-headed snake who gives you advice. But I don't know, I got actually relatively positive reviews, and I guess if I don't know if I personally say this, but from things I've read, people have said they compare it to Tomb Raider or Ocarina of Time as far as gameplay. So I don't like comparing this to Ocarina of Time. I mean, yeah.
I remember at least it had really good production values, like the cutscenes. I remember watching the introduction cutscene again with you last week, and I don't think we played too much again of it, but just like the voice acting was really good too. So.
Basically, the game and the original comic are more or less unrelated, and Acclaim bought the rights to the comic, so after they get started a second series of the comic, it was basically identical to the game. So, and one thing I want to mention, and it's one of the first games I remember them swearing in. And I mean, like now that's commonplace, but back in the day, like you never saw them swearing. Like he shit like 3 times in the opening movie, and I was just like, yeah, you don't. Back in the day, you never heard that, especially on the N64. I mean, Nintendo's so squeaky clean, like to hear somebody like, shit. You know, like, shit. That shit's wild.
Cutting edge, man. Yeah. Cutting edge.
All right.
Is it as cutting edge as this next game here? Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
Oh, Kemco.
For PlayStation and N64. And this was a one-player side-scroller, coincided with the animated movie. And the game barely has a story. Clunky controls, bad graphics and sound. Not fun. Man, I know you played this one a lot more than I did. I just kind of checked out briefly at your place, but
to put it into terms, I bought this game in its original wrap about 6 months ago. Like I bought the game in the box in its original plastic wrap with a sweepstake entry thing on the front. I paid $8 for it. So anytime you can buy a really old console game that's still on its plastic wrap for like $8, you know there's something wrong with it. Mm-hmm. But I threw this game in, and man, it's just awful. Like when I read clunky controls and then I go and play it, it's like I can hit the punch button 4 times and maybe twice it'll go, and just the hit detection, everything is bad about it. And I just end up getting killed. And I played it for I actually put like a good couple hours into this. I was like, I guess if I really wanted to, I could probably finish it, but I don't know if I want to. So. Yeah, it's not one of those ones just look at videos. It's terrible. Like, there's so many things they could have done better about the game, and it's just a terrible game.
Well, is this next Batman game any better?
Well, I see Iguana's name.
Oh, an Acclaim. They've been pretty reputable so far.
Well, Iguana, though.
Yeah,
Iguana holds up their end of the deal, so.
Except here.
No, this is that good one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, this is the one that I actually don't have because I didn't realize there was multiple Batman Forevers. Just a side note, Batman Forever, like they actually did this a couple times. Like Batman and Robin, there's like the SNES and the Genesis versions are completely different. Mm-hmm. And Batman Forever is like there's the PlayStation Saturn era and there's the 16-bit era, and they're completely different.
Yeah, they're still transitioning.
So yeah, there's actually like literally 2 different versions of this game depending on which generation you own. So. Mm-hmm. So be this generation. So I'll let you cover that.
Okay, yeah, so Batman Forever, the arcade game, instead of the SNES Genesis ones were just like a 2D side scroller, which actually had Mortal Kombat style uppercuts, and it was weird. It was bad. This one was a 2-player side scrolling beat 'em up. You played as Batman or Robin and saved Gotham from Two-Face and Riddler, just like the movie. And I had pressure pads, pressure sensitive power-ups that deployed bat gadgets and other perks.
I guess to describe that a little bit better, if you think of Death Race, the new Death Race,
Yeah.
like how they have to drive over like the ground, like the certain areas of the ground to pick up like a power-up or something to activate something, that's how the game worked.
Kind of like Split Second. No, it's a more recent example.
Yeah, that'd be a great example, so.
And some of your gadgets you got to use were Batarang, Taser, Bat Bola, Grappling Hook, Stun Grenade, the Bat Call, where you summon bats to attack enemies. This game looks crazy.
Yeah, look up YouTube videos of this. Like, I don't have this one. Like I said, I didn't realize until I was doing the show notes and doing research and stuff like that there's a huge difference in the console and the console versions. So I definitely take a look at the video on this. I actually want to pick this one up now because it looks really fun. But
Yeah.
I'm going to jump into, we got 2 games coming up I'm actually really excited about. So
Oh, yeah.
some big ones here. They got a lot of people know these. I think this is a big time here. So Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, 1999, Capcom, PlayStation, Dreamcast. It's the 5th in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Story behind this one is Charles Xavier gathers heroes to stop him from becoming Onslaught, who's the final boss. And Onslaught, it's a mess if you read the comics. It's just kind of like an amalgam of Magneto and Xavier. But new features in this are assist characters, so maybe we were wrong on that. I think this, maybe for the console versions, this is the first time they allowed assist. But and then duo attacks. The Dreamcast version wasn't a perfect arcade port, and the PlayStation one was limited as were the earlier ones. There's a much bigger roster, and this will take a little bit of time to run through here. So, yeah,
Are you actually going to name every single one?
Yes, I am. And you're going to name them in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so be prepared.
Okay.
All right. Spider-Man, Ryu, Captain America, Chun-Li, Hulk, Zangief, Wolverine, Mega Man, Venom, Jin, Gambit, Morrigan, War Machine, Strider, Hiryu. There's a Gold War Machine, Captain Commando, Red Venom, Roll, Orange Hulk, Lilith, Onslaught, Shadow Lady. Your special partners in the game, which this is where the assists come in, you get the Unknown Soldier, Thor, Lou and Siva, Magneto, Saki Omokane, U.S. Agent, Pure and Fur, Cyclops, Psylocke, Storm, Michelle Hart, Colossus, Iceman, Anita, Arthur, Jubilee, Tonpu, Rogue, Juggernaut, and Shadow. And Devilot and Sentinel. And I'm just reading this, I'm wondering if Arthur is actually from Ghosts and Goblins.
Could be, yeah. They brought in characters from their other games.
So that'd be kind of cool. I have to check that out. So that actually wraps up our multi-platforms. We're on to the Dreamcast exclusives now. So, any thoughts on Marvel vs. Capcom?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't get into the first one as much as you did. I actually only played it at the arcade. But the second one I played a time more, so I have a lot more input on the second one. But I remember just I think the first one seemed a little bit more different than the second one. But I think the
second one fine-tuned everything.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Just that was the sheer craziness of what the versus games got at this point.
I do have to throw a side note in the arcade version, which I found out there's a move, and I'm not sure how accurate this is. I found it in one player though. As Chun-Li, I found a move that you can do that you can only do while you're in air. And I don't know if it's on the consoles, but it's in the arcade, where basically I do this certain move, and I do my special in air while I'm flying into an opponent. And the screen goes black, and Chinese symbols pop up, and basically do a one-hit kill. And it's like an instant kill hit. Or combo, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if there's other characters that can do this, but I found it on the arcade version, so I'm kind of curious to see whether that's actually in the other ones. But I don't know. I'm gonna let you dive into MVC2, man.
MVC2, New Age of Heroes. Yes. Gosh. Well, this game, to say Dreamcast exclusive is a little bit of a misnomer. It was at the time when it came out. It later got released on PS2 and Xbox, and also just as recently as downloadable on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live Arcade, which I highly suggest you go out and download and buy.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
get your
if it's
ass kicked.
Flawless online play. Yes, it works great. Great quarter match modes.
We're going to cover those too because I actually incorporated those into the later list, so we'll bring those up in our next couple.
But yeah, this one had it was the sixth, and for the longest time, the last in the MVC series, as Marvel vs. Capcom 3 just got announced recently within the last several months here. So
maybe out within a year, I'd say.
Yes. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has new features with new controls, 4 attacks, 2 assist buttons, and 3-on-3 tag battles. And instead of your traditional, just best of 3 rounds, this one was just 1 round because it took a long-ass time to kill.
Well, it's a 3-on-3 tag.
3-on-3 fighters. But you tag out any time. And the story was set 10 years after the first MVC. A dark entity named Abyss is going to destroy the Earth. And Ruby Heart gathers the heroes and villains on her ship to battle them. And I remember that last boss, Abyss, is so huge. He's a big red gobbledygook that takes up the entire screen.
There's actually 3 forms of him, too. So.
I didn't know how I hit him when I was fighting him. I was just pressing buttons, and somehow I managed to beat him.
Oh, I'm such a cheap bastard when it comes to that game. So. But so is everybody else, apparently, so...
And each character has their own hyper combo, and that's what I loved about it, too, in the Dreamcast. It made it so easy to do hyper combos. I mean... Each character had
the shoulder button.
Yeah, you either press 2 shoulder buttons at the same time, and for more advanced players, if you want, you could do your traditional button combination and a 2-button attack to do it. Because I remember Captain America, if you did his trigger hyper combo, you did the basic, ultimate shield attack there. But if you did the quarter
Final
circle,
justice.
Yeah, if you did the quarter circle and both punch buttons at the same time, Final Justice.
Oh yeah, I remember everybody dreaded hearing that when we played it. We play just fucking play marathons of this game, and
at our old apartment, nightly tournaments.
Everybody's just like, oh, Matt's picking Captain America again, and they're halfway through the match, Final Justice, and every time, man, I thought it was great, and then I played online.
Yeah, and they kick our asses.
I want to throw out too, I kind of made in my notes the character hyper combos. The thing that was unique about it is you could use all 3 at the same time, and I mean that racks up the combo points too. Mm-hmm. So
yep, yeah. Seeing some of those, the Dreamcast, even though it was just 2D sprites, and at this point, even Capcom was still reusing the same sprites from the first Versus games, and the graphics were really showing their age. But they actually had 3D backgrounds for the stages. The stages look great, but yeah. The graphics are really showing their age. They actually polished them up a bit for the remakes, or the re-releases on downloadable form. But just for the fact that they were able to get 6 characters on screen when you got the assists in right, and get the big hyper combos, each character doing their hyper combos at the same time, just crazy killer. And 4 characters were specifically created for the game. You got Ruby Heart, Amingo, Sun, and Abyss. I also remember Jill Valentine was created specifically for this too.
Was she?
She wasn't in any of their older ones. I remember reading reviews at the time. Yep.
She was a pre-existing character though, wasn't she?
I don't think so.
No, wasn't she in the Resident Evil games?
Well, I mean, as far as 2D sprites go.
No, these characters were actually created just for the game.
Oh, as for new...
Yeah, Ruby Heart, Amingo, Sun, and Abyss were actually, they were original characters.
Okay, you're talking about new to the Capcom universe.
Yep. Okay. Sun, you might guys remember, there's an older NES game, I want to say, called Sun. Mm-hmm. And the character in this one is the daughter or grandchild of Sun that was in that game. And something you kind of skipped over a second, there's the secret factor.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, actually.
I'll let you bring it up then.
Yeah, I was just kind of bouncing around here, but the secret factor is their unlock shop. This was a first at the time, I remember. I remember countless games ripping this off. It almost became standard form, but it was your unlock shop. It was the first game I remember doing an unlock shop where you got points for doing whatever, and if you played a versus match, you got 100 points. If you beat the single-player arcade mode, you got X amount of points. And use those points to buy new characters, levels, colors, and...
you know what I just forgot?
What's that?
Do you remember what we used to do?
Yeah, I was just going to mention the thing we did to cheese to get extra points.
Just remember
because the more characters you unlock, there's kind of like a level up system. The more points it costs to unlock, the more colors and more characters. And what we do, there was training mode where you just sat there an infinite amount of time, and you got 10 points per minute. And so what would we do to get all the characters? But none other than just leave it set overnight while we sleep or work or whatever. Oh, woke up first. I'm like, oh, how many points? Oh, got a few thousand points. All right, I could buy 2 characters. Yes.
Oh man.
Thank goodness in the in the remake for the downloadable.
Everything was unlocked. But that kind of took the fun out of it, though.
Yeah, but
I didn't want to do it. Definitely added to the replay value, though. So, all right, you gonna run through the roster?
I guess
you got to run through the roster.
At least I'm gonna have a little fun of it. If you looked at the character select screen on Marvel vs. Capcom 2, this song came to mind. Yes, right. I'm gonna have this play while I run this down, Matt. This is 56 characters. Yes, this is 3-second loop of song. This is what played. Yes, awesome elevator music. Alright, so here's our characters. Blackheart, Akuma, Cable, Mingo, Captain America, Anacrus, Colossus, BB Hood, Cyclops, Cammy, Doctor Doom, Captain Commando, Gambit, Charlie. Wait, music play. I need to play new music. Give me more awesome MVC2 music. Come on, load. There we go. Oh. Okay. Captain Commando, Gambit, Charlie, Hulk, Chun-Li, Iceman, Dan, Iron Man, Dalsum, Juggernaut, Felicia, Magneto, Guile, Marrow, Hayato, Omega Red, Jill Valentine, Psylocke, Jin, Rogue, Ken, Sabretooth, M. Bison, Sentinel, Mega Man, Shumagaroth, Morgan, Silver Samurai, Roll, Spider-Man, Ruby, Spiral, Ryu, Storm, Sakura, Thanos, Servbot. Yes, that's right, fucking Servbot. Had one of the best hyper combos in the game. Venom, Sun, War Machine, Strider, Hyrule, Hiryu, Wolverine, Tronbon, Wolverine with the Bone Claws, and Zangief.
Alright. Dale, I just remembered another thing, too.
What?
If you play as Servbot, and you have another character play as Cyclops, and you do a certain attack by Servbot, it makes it look like Servbot is giving Cyclops head.
Oh,
and
yes.
Cyclops is terrified of it. It is hilarious. Oh, Cyclops getting hit by a tiny robot.
I remember that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just jamming out to this music.
Why are you taking your pants off? Oh, boy. I just saw Dale's Tronbon. Oh, that's lame. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, moving.
We're not getting tired at all. No, dude, we had some legendary marathons, though. I remember we played that for, like, months on end. Like,
yes.
I'd have people over that didn't play games, and we'd play that. Like,
and we need to get back into it on the PSN there, or XBLA.
I don't like getting my ass kicked, though.
But I got a fight stick now. I can use it to unleash hell on you.
Okay.
That's what I played. I played Jeff of Interactive Distractions podcast off the VG Evo Podcast Network online, and that's when I was starting to get my ass kicked. I'm like, how the hell are you doing these air combos? I can't pull these off.
Oh, Magneto?
No, with Gambit. Just doing these kick-ass 7-hit air combos, and I was like, I can only do like a 3 or 4-hit combo and get a fight stick. So I did, and I don't kick ass on mine, but I am marginally better. Marginally. That's what counts.
All right. This one we did play for a little while.
Yeah, just recently.
Spawn in the Demon's Hand. This came out in 2000 from Capcom as well, actually.
And is it just as badass as Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
No.
No?
This is a multiplayer arena shooter, which basically they drop you in an arena with 4 players and you just shoot at each other. So, really it's not a bad game, but really, like, I don't know. There's 37 playable characters, which I don't know half of these. Like, I know some Spawn, but I read the first 6 issues, and after that I kind of just gave up on it. But, Brimstone, Cogliostro, Medieval Spawn, Priest, the Redeemer, Sam, Spawn, Tiffany, Tremor, Twitch, Violator, Clown, Hellspawn, Spawn 4, Wolf 1, Overkill, Spawn 1, Cygor, Admonisher, Grace, Al Simmons, Black Brimstone, Salil, Angel Teneras, Skeleton, Green Beret, the Mafia, Hellspawn, Army, Angels, Vindicator, The Curse, Soldier, Vandalizer, Vacillator, Vaporizer, Zombie, Gatekeeper, and Curse Sub, I guess. I know some of those. Some of Twitch is kind of funny having in there, but... what do you have to add in this one?
Yeah, me, you, and Dave, who's been on the show a few times before, we did this for a few times, kind of screwed around Arena Battle, and I think we all kind of had this collective thought where we're like, is this really a game?
Yeah. I guess this would be like a feature on another game.
Yeah. Yeah. like a multiplayer feature of like a Spawn game.
Like of an N64 game that actually had a story mode,
Yes.
and then this was kind of tacked on last minute. But instead they made an actual game and charged people for it.
Thanks, Capcom.
Yep.
All right. I don't know how to move on to this next game. I remember actually playing a demo for it off the good old official Dreamcast magazine demo disc. Kiss Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child. This came from Take-Two Interactive before they had their 2K Games and Rockstar subsidiary labels. But this is a one-player first-person shooter. Yes, a first-person shooter Kiss game.
Yep.
And, well, for this one, a Kiss tribute band receives superhuman powers.
Kiss really isn't in the game.
It's
a tribute band.
I'm not making this up. Yeah, and I actually remember, from what I remember playing the demo, it was average for the time.
This one was ones like I've been on the ropes about buying because I'm like, but I suppose I probably should. But
I guess I don't really remember a lot because it's been a long.
I watched the video
time.
for it. It does look really average. It doesn't look terrible. It just looks like your standard first-person shooter with a Kiss license thrown on it, which everything with a Kiss license on it is pretty much just standard. Yeah.
Okay, so some people may be wondering. Everyone remembers Kiss a band. Why is this based off the comic? How is this related to a comic?
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
What? I'm so. How's this based off a comic?
It's based off the comic.
There's a Kiss comic.
Yes.
But
There's Kiss everything.
But Kiss band came before Kiss comic.
Yeah. Kiss, they worked with, I think it was Atomic Farland actually, did the Psycho Circus was an album, and they did a line of comics based off of it, and I don't like Kiss. To all the Kiss fans out there, I like songs like Strutter and Detroit Rock City, and there's a couple other songs I like,
yes.
but I don't like Kiss collectively, because Gene Simmons is a whore, but I mean, to argue that, I mean, honestly.
So I bet you're looking forward to the next Guitar Hero game where
he narrates the entire thing. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
I did like him in Extract.
All right. Good stuff. And Detroit Rock City. That's one of my favorite movies from the 90s, man. Don't you take that away from me.
I'm ready to rumble.
Yes.
Ugh.
It actually came out in 2000, but
that's okay. It was still the 90s. Not really.
It was in production during the 90s.
There
but,
you go.
All right, Matt, last game.
Take
it away.
Another 4-player arena fighter.
Yes.
By Capcom.
Again.
Heavy Metal Geomatrix.
They could have just combined them in one and been for a slightly better value.
And yeah, this is another game. Plays exactly like Spawn and the Demon's Hand. The tagline for the game is Battle for Land in the Cyberpunk Future using nanobots. Yeah. Okay, basically, people don't do anything anymore, so they just have robots fight for them, and it's an arena fiber. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Basically, whatever we said for it in Spawn, it just drops 4 players in an arena, and there's random, no-name characters that fight each other. I guess the really only thing to note in this is, I mean, honestly, if they wouldn't have had this, it's not a heavy metal game. They actually had a good licensed soundtrack, like Megadeth and Robert Halford were on there, but how could you make a game by heavy metal game and not have metal bands in it? Like, that'd be like the worst decision. I mean, yeah, I'm not even going to go into that. Be as bad as Heavy Metal 2000. But
actually, I think we rented this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, played it. I also remember running into this in the arcade.
Really?
It was, to be fair, it wasn't. It was when I was in E3 in Los Angeles. We went to this arcade called Arcade Infinium in Koreatown, and they specialized in a lot. They had a lot of import games there, and I was just kind of going around playing them just one at a time. And I was like, oh, heavy! I remember this on Dreamcast. I didn't realize this was an arcade game, and it was. I mean, I guess it was. I think I remember being a little better than Spawn, but that's not saying anything.
I don't know. I think the funny thing, there's another a tagline for it is to win you must fight, to live you must win. And I think they mixed 2 taglines up there and just came out with a mess. That's what the game seems like, really. Have you even seen Heavy Metal, Dale?
Yeah, I remember watching it at your place.
Have you seen the first one? You see the second one?
I think it was the 1970s version.
Yeah. You don't want to watch Heavy Metal 2000. It's not that good. It's got an insane clown posse on the soundtrack, which, of course, they're definitely heavy metal. Come on.
Of course.
Yeah. All right.
And with that wraps up part 3.
I think we're getting a little worn down there at the end.
Yes.
I think I am a little worn down.
Yeah, That was like, what, 50-some-odd games, kind of?
I don't even know.
If you guys made it this far, and we salute you. I know there's probably some games where you didn't care to talk about. We could have removed all the stuff, all the acclaimed games, except Turok, and Shadow Man, and had a far better time with this. But
I think at the end of the game we should run down the entire roster of all the characters that have appeared in the Marvel vs. Capcom series.
Yes, again.
The entire roster. Like every character. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to do that.
No, Matt.
We've been up for way too long.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
But, yes. So, as a preview for Part 4, what systems are we going to be covering, Matt?
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. So, be prepared.
We're going to have some good Spider-Man games in there. Some good X-Men games.
Yes. Things started looking up this generation.
Some bad Batman games.
Still some bad games, though.
No, bad Batman games. Bad Superman games.
Yes, still.
Dale's next entry in the Punisher.
Yes. Finally, another Punisher game after a while there.
Another Hulk game. Some good Hulk games. A lot of good games, actually.
Yes, a lot. The good actually starts to outweigh the bad that generation. So.
X-Men Legends. Some Return of the Turtles.
Yes.
Which is something we were discussing before this. This is the only generation to not have a turtle game on it.
It's the best of our knowledge. So,
no, there wasn't. As far as I know, I dug it up pretty good. I mean, maybe there's some handhelds released during this era, but
all right.
I hope you guys have fun.
We hope. We're sorry that you had to endure some of our agony, but trust us, the research wasn't that fun for it either.
No, we took some breaks during this, so you guys should too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll probably insert a break music halfway through at least. So
maybe some MVC music.
Yes, that's a good idea. You know, I think I'll close out with some MVC music too as we wrap up here.
A side note for the PS3 owners out there: if you go into your media download on the PlayStation Store, you can actually download 10 remixes of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 music for free.
I want to do that.
But it's hip hop remixes, so be warned if you're not a rap fan that you're probably not going to like it. But it's there.
I'm going to take you for a ride, y'all.
Boats and hoes.
Boats and hoes. Okay, and with that, I think we'll wrap up here. If you want to send us an email, send us your memories of your favorite comic book games. You got 2 ways to go about it. You could either post on the our forums on VG Evo.
Boats and hoes. You got me started, Dale.
Yes, like I said earlier, go to VGEvo.com and go to the VG Evo Podcast Network. Click on Tap. You find our forums there. You can post anything you want. Find the open question thread. Leave us a question. We'll gladly respond to it on our next episode.
Before you cut out, Dale, Pete Wade is on Facebook. And I'm giving a self shout out. Pete Wade is my alter ego. He is homeless and has a computer, and you're overpowering with music. But no, Pete Wade, Facebook. Check him out. He's homeless. He's awesome. All right, we're wrapping it up from the sounds of it.
Yes, Pete Wade digs Marvel vs. Capcom 2 music.
Dale likes the Pete Wade.
But yeah, mailbag at ontappodcast.com is our email. Also send anything you want to send there if you don't want to bother posting on forums, but I highly suggest you do because VG Evo has a great community and they're great.
Send us some more comic questions too.
Or
I really like it.
If you're a Twitter user, we're on Twitter. Twitter.com/Gruel, Gruel. Find all the latest on tap announcements there, and also what I've been playing lately, and my many agonies and successes in the games I've been playing. So, yes, that's it. We're done. Matt, thanks for coming.